Yeah!
Hey, man.
Yeah!
We're live.
Yabba dabba doo!
Hey, everybody. This is Johnny Beane and John Mancuda. It's Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live. September 8th, 2020, 8:11 Eastern, 5:11 Pacific. Welcome. Tuesday.
Tech more on Tuesday. Let's cross fingers. Hope nothing blows up in our high-tech equipment studios.
Oh, man. I know I've had other friends out here. They've had their power turned off. You know, because of the fires.
Not paying bills. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the fires. Yes, the fires.
So
I ran out of power the other day. I woke up literally.
That's right.
I woke up literally and man, it's kind of hot in here. And then I'm just like, why is the AC so warm? And then I like turn a light on. I'm like, oh man, the lights are off, power's off. And then I rush to my fridge. I throw all the milk in the freezer and just like anything perishable. I'm like, well, this should be a fun day. And now I'm thinking they finally figured out I didn't pay my bill. All right. Then when my neighbor's texted me, she's like, do you have power? I'm like, no, my plug-in vibrator's not working, so it's no.
Oh my gosh.
the vag. I'm slapping the Vag-O-Matic. I'm like, why isn't this thing plugging in? Oh, the power's out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Welcome everybody. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, of course, and that's where you can become. Where it is. A channel member.
Zoinks!
You can sponsor. You can sponsor this channel. You can sponsor these videos. And it's very easy to do. You just click the join button below right here on YouTube. And the top tier of channel members are the executive producers like Charles Green, Joe Christian, Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Laz, Mike Neese, Michael Smith, David Ennis. The captain, David Ennis, Michael Smith, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael?
Oh, whoops.
Why are you laughing at poor Steve Carmichael?
Wrong button.
Steve Carmichael's like, I'm paying money to get laughed at. Why are they laughing at me? I paid money. Why?
Man, well, Steve Carmichael. You guys should check out Steve Carmichael. Actually, he's got a great website, a great YouTube channel on woodworking. Where's his sticker at?
Well,
I think it's the Carmichael Workshop. Steve, are you here? Anyway.
Of course he's here. He's one of the big bosses. He's got to oversee the quality or lack thereof of the show. See what everything's going for. Didn't he make you like a cool pick holder out of wood?
Yeah. He made me a really nice leash holder for Howie's leashes right there.
There you go.
And a very nice guitar pick, a Wolfgang guitar pick shaped holder.
Nice.
Whoops, right there.
It's like when your kid comes home from wood shop and he's got like this disheveled looking box and you're like, what's this? What's this, son? And it's like, oh, well, it's a bird feeder. I made it for you in wood shop, Daddy. But actually, Steve Carmichael grew into actually knowing what to do with wood. I don't mean morning wood, like I know what to do with wood, but I mean, yeah, he made you a pick thing. He made you a pick thing.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve. Steve, there you are, man. There you are. Yeah, the CarmichaelWorkshop.com.
There you go.
There we go.
Carmichael Workshop.
Yeah, an actual sponsor of the show.
Nice.
There you go. So yeah, check him out. So yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for the love of Blue Rhino. He appreciates that. Everyone in the chat spreading Blue Rhino love. I appreciate that. And let's see who is in the chat. Let's see. I always screw this up. That's why I get the job. Edwin Crane, Thomas Santiago. What the hell? I bombed already. Margaret Scranton. She says, "Oh my goodness, morning wood. Margaret, get ready. You better buckle in your seatbelts. We're driving the B-1 bomber over. We're driving the B-1 bomber over the Middle East right now, and I'm about to let the F-bombs go. So buckle in.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Margaret, good to see you.
So let's see. Vistalite 1972. Janice Lala. Hey, Janice. Hugh Caldwell. John BL for 5150. Hey, brother.
Hey,
Sandra Picorni. Picorni. Me love you long time. Margaret Scranton. Welcome. Edwin Crane. Thomas Santiago. Hal Fay. Snipebot. Cobra Kai Platoon, who makes the most awesome things for us in the Discord. Thank you, brother. Mr. Hellstorm 74, let's see, Bradink 1982. Am I pronouncing that right? Bradink? Yeah, it sounds good. Braddock 1982, Linny Lou and Mary, and possibly their niece even listening. I don't know her niece's name. Linny Lou, what's your niece? So I could give her a shout out. Brian Spalding, the Chad in the house. How are you, brother? Jim Nicholas, Steve Carmichael. Let's see.
Steve Carmichael.
My girl Susie Cherry in the house. How are you doing, Susie? Susie, right. Let's see. Renus Pinkle, 69. Hardwood Steaks. Thunder Falcon from the Super Friends. I love him. That's such a great name, isn't it? Awesome. Brian Spalding, my brother Fruitcake Tony, how are you, man?
Tony.
Let's see. Who else? There was someone else new in here. Oh, here we go. Crucible of Fire 417 HZ, 417 hertz. Okay, so she's also new, and I guess Susie and Nikki warned her what the show's like. Hang on to your panties. Here we go. Imagine here's what it is, Crucible. Here's what the show is like. It's basically like someone hands you a shake and you're like, oh, it's purple, it must be grape or something. So you're drinking it, it's sweet, it's kind of tasty. And then you realize when you get to the bottom, she's like, did you drink that whole prune whip? And you're like, prune whip? And then like your stomach starts gurgling, and suddenly you realize you're running to the bathroom for explosive diarrhea. That's what the show is like. Exactly. And it's also full of shit. Kenko Dor, how are you, brother? Let's see who else. Am I missing anyone? I'm sure I'm missing people. Brandon Butt Cheeks, how are you, brother? Les Mancuda, Dwight Bailey, Frank Corcoran, Jim Nicholas, Vistalite 1972, Professional Idiot, that's me. James Gum, how are you, man? And they're just pouring in by the shitload. Tuba, now this is a name for me. Beane. That's like Mushmouth from Fat Albert trying to say like something. It's like Beane. Okay. Welcome.
Awesome. Welcome.
And everyone else, you guys are pouring in real fast. So welcome everybody. Thank you. And oh, wait a minute. I gotta give shout out. Eduardo Moreno Porto.
Hey, Eduardo.
And everyone else that's pouring into the chat. Welcome. Welcome. Just letting you know the next couple of hours will definitely be a waste of your time and mine, but I don't get paid to do this. Richard Cheese. There you go. How are you, man? Jesus Rapes Me in the house.
Hey, Richard.
Kenny Dave. How are you, brother? Everyone's pouring in. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
So, Johnny, how are the fires by you? Are they controlled by now?
Yes and no. Yes and
well,
no. The closest one is, but there was another one where they actually had to bring in some helicopters, like some military helicopters, and get the people out.
Oh wow.
Where was that? Was that Tahoe?
John BL. John BL's there with a big fire chart of California.
Mammoth. It was Mammoth Lakes. Mammoth what?
Mammoth bulge in Johnny's pants.
Mammoth Pool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was serious. I saw it last night. I saw it on the news. Yeah, they're everywhere. It's bad stuff. Bad
Let's
stuff.
see. Martin Taylor. Let's see. Richard Cheese. Matt Stewart, Sammy Reynolds, everyone's pouring in. Sammy, by the way, yeah, Paul will be coming in. He's just running a little late, but he'll be in a little bit. Kevin Gutchell, Kenny Dave. Hey, everybody. Jim Nicholas, get to the chopper. Creek, the fires. Go to the military chopper. Come, Johnny Beane, bring Ned the cat and your wife. Grab only one guitar.
That's what it felt like a couple weeks ago, man.
Yeah, you were all packed up to evacuate, and I saw you like, your wife's like in the car running, Ned's in the crate, and you got all your important documents, and Johnny's still there at the closet. Which guitar should I take? Which should I let burn up in flame? Which ones? And, come on, honey, we've got to go. The flames are in the backyard. I'm trying to decide. I got to pick a guitar. How many? Could I sit one on your lap? Honey, come on, let's go. Do we have ties for the roof of the car? Can I bring? Maybe I could fit an amp in the glove. Can we? I don't know. Do you need all those heirlooms, honey? I could probably fit another Marshall in there.
Man, it's like you never. I mean, over the years we've talked about that. I mean, not for real.
Yeah.
I mean, just on the show. On the show.
God forbid.
We've always, that's been something we've talked about for a lot of years, and finally, that almost kind of happened here. So I was prepared to lose everything.
Yeah, Kenny Dave says load up the chickens. Kenny, Johnny's not loading up the chickens. He's impaling them on spits and hanging them on the fence. So when he returns to see his house, at least there will be like a nice buffet of roasted chicken. He's not taking the chickens.
No, actually we would have because they're pets. They're actual. So
I want to eat a couple of your pets.
It's weird, man. I mean, it's until you actually own pets that you can eat. I know it's kind of weird. You look at things a little differently. I couldn't eat chicken for a while when we first got them.
I'll show you how.
It was kind of difficult, but
I'm a total carnivore. I'm a total carnivore. If you say so what do you want for dinner, John? We have salad, we have tofu, we have some nice roast vegetables and potatoes. I'm like, okay, where's some form of meat? Let it be meat, fish, chicken, something. I need some sort of some sort of thing that was alive at some point. I hate to say it, but
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw you eat that Popeye's chicken sandwich that one time.
Yeah, I inhaled the damn thing. I inhaled the damn thing. Let's see. Renus Pinko says, leave the adult toys at home. Leave the giant dildo. Johnny, come on. But honey, Mancuda's dildo, he's going to kill me. It's this big, black, spiked, double-ended 4-foot dong. It's his Christmas present. I can't leave it. Yeah. Fruitcake Tony wants to know what's the hint for tonight's show and tell guitar. Tonight's show and tell guitar. Let's see. What's a good hint for it? Well, it's very bright, definitely very bright, and it's a brand I don't have a lot of. I only have maybe I think only 2 of them in my whole collection.
Oh,
so you guys that have watched the show, a lot of the major brands that I play and collect. This is one that's very infrequent, and I had the other one of this brand that I own on the show already. So there you go. There's some, and it's not a Kiesel. Definitely not a Kiesel. So there you go. Blue Rhino knows what it is, but he's not saying anything. Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see. Awesome. Let's see. In the chat, I just saw, who was it? Tho Khan. Greetings from Germany at 2 a.m. How are you, brother?
Hey, welcome. Thank you for staying up.
Yeah, he actually set his alarm. It's 2 a.m. Oh, watch talking guitars and 80s metal. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's talking guitars, 80s metal. It's good.
Actually, one of the very first shows like this, you know, what evolved into what you guys are watching right now. This very
A train wreck, basically. A
What,
shit-covered train wreck.
one of the very first episodes of doing a live thing like this on the channel here. We were joined by a guy, I forget where he lived, somewhere in Europe, but it was literally, you know, 6 a.m. his time. I think it was early. I think we were doing the shows earlier in the afternoon then, so it was like maybe 3 o'clock, you know, Pacific, like 6 a.m. wherever this other guy was, and he woke up, you know, just to be on the show. I mean, he was super excited. It was early morning.
Well, because he didn't know,
and
he didn't know.
I can't remember who that guy was. I only had him on one time, and I think we had him on because he had a Wolfgang guitar. I think
That's all it takes. Do you have a guitar? You're a guest.
Yeah,
you're a guest. No, I remember Andy Timmons was like disappointed. He's like, wait, what's the show? Yeah, I agreed to do it, I guess. All right. Yeah, all right. I'll come on, John. Let's see. Brendan Buttcheeks wants to know, I was watching a Paul Gilbert new guitar, mini scale guitar, Ibanez Paul Gilbert's signature. Have any of you guys played it or seen it? I played a Gilbert, I played a version of a Gilbert Ibanez when I went guitar store hopping with Nesdall once. I think that's the guitar you're talking about. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Neanderthal in the house.
Hi.
Hey, man.
Hi.
Hey, you sound good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I was just getting ready to sign into YouTube, so I could.
Here you are.
And watch something else. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's like, maybe they won't notice if I leave a cardboard standee of me, like just here and like just, you know.
Yeah, I'll pull the Geddy Lee at the baseball game thing.
You guys have no idea what I'm watching. Yeah, but no, as far as that Paul Gilbert, yes, I have played those. That's the shorter scale, but the what do you call it? The hardtail ones, right?
Yeah, it's like a weird shape a little bit.
No, it's like a regular like Ibanez.
Is it like I thought one of the horns was like a little weird.
They look like a backward Iceman a little bit.
Not
a fireman. He's not talking a fireman. No. There's another guitar. I know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure I played it with Nesdall.
Mini scale, the PG MM31.
A lot of love for Paulie's doggy.
Oh, I didn't even see. I'm not even. Yeah. That's Aces chewing on a ball right now. Giggity.
No!
Yeah, the Chad loves the German Shepherd. Does not love me. Why don't you love me, Chad? Why don't you love me?
I love both of you. You're both very lovable. Yeah, Brendan Buttcheek says it's like a mini Strat looking thing. I'm pretty sure that's the same one. You grabbing a photo of it, Johnny?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
By the way, my buddy got his Jason Becker guitar today. 16 weeks it took for them to ship him that guitar. 4 months.
Is that the one with all the signatures?
No, it's the one with the numbers. It's the signature model.
Okay,
the signature one.
Yeah,
did they make it? Did they make it brand new for him?
It appears so.
You know,
it appears so. It's brand new. You know, the typical unfinished wood grain with the numbers on the necks. It's very,
very Sesame Street looking. Kind of cool.
Very simple, like a toy, but a toy that you could really do some damage with.
Like cool. That 4-foot dildo we were talking about earlier.
Oh, I'm late for the show. Where have I been?
You really missed that one. Greg, bring the dildo into the chopper. Load it up, boys.
Come on, it's Tuesday night. You know what you're supposed to do. Bring the rubber cock.
I want it dangling from the copter so it's jizz from above.
Ain't got time to bleed.
Oh my gosh.
Hasta la vista. Here comes a load.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
All right, that's it right there, right?
I don't think that's it. That's his usual model. Isn't there another one?
Yeah, it says the MM31. Yeah, the short scale. This is a shorter guitar.
Is
It's
that what we're
smaller.
talking about?
Yeah, look how small it is.
That's what she said.
Wait, it's supposed to be a 4-foot dildo. Look how small it is.
Man, it looks like a little kid's toy.
This is what you call a pee-pee. This little thing.
That's the guitar, though, right? I think that's it. Yeah, yeah. It's a shorter scale guitar. It's not regular.
Now, I love the fact that there are F holes on the guitar, but it's not a semi-hollow, right?
No.
No, it's just
those are just painted on the finish.
Yeah, it's just a design.
Yeah.
Hey, JB, welcome.
JB. Anthony Lee Band's in the house. Dwight Bailey's in the house. Ben Tom, do you have your nephew with you? Or no, it's your son, right? I think it's your son that watches the show too.
Yes.
Dad, I'll be up to watch as soon as I finish masturbating.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Oh, come on, he's 13 or 14, something like that. He's perfect masturbatory age.
Then why is he watching this show and not on RedTube?
Well, right now he's on Brazzers, so he hears us talking about a guitar with F holes. He's like, F holes.
Yeah, that's the thing. F holes.
There it is.
I just like listening to Johnny giggling like a little kid.
Johnny's like a little schoolgirl. Like,
He said penis. Oh boy, that man could.
Yeah. So anyway, there's the guitar. Yeah, fake F holes. They're not real.
Giggity.
yeah, I haven't played that one. I've played the full size ones, the older ones, but I haven't played that one. That's fun. Paulie, what's the temperature out by you? We were like dying this week. It was like 120 something in the valley.
Well, it rained for about 6 minutes here today, so it cooled down to a lovely 113 degrees.
Oh, so it's very cool by you.
Oh, actually, no, I take that back. Now because the rain it's dropped down to 93. It just readjusted. But it's 93 degrees and about 38% humid, so it's very soupy here. What the hell was that noise?
Oh boy, the dogs are trashing the house already.
No, somebody doing dishes. It's not. Well, that noise didn't come from here.
Hey, maybe you train the dog a new trick.
No, I am going to have dog issues, though. I can tell already because I was sleeping most of the afternoon. And,
did you fill the dog's bowl with Bang energy drink?
I did not. No, but I did pull a Swiss pick out of Ace's mouth.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
He was chewing on one of them.
The good news about Swiss Picks, which is one of our sponsors, Swiss Picks, there are holes there, so you cannot choke. On a Swiss Pick.
Yep.
There are little air holes. You can always breathe. So listen, don't feed them to your kids, but should they happen to think it's, multicolored potato chips or something, yeah, you're safe. You're good. You can watch the show, then take them to the doctor.
Our friend, the Captain Michael Smith, yesterday, I believe it was the warmest day of the year in Denver, and today it's snowing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, my buddy's also out in Colorado. He's like, I'm driving in a foot of snow right now.
Yeah.
I said, what? And he's like, it was 90 something degrees yesterday, and today I'm in a foot of snow.
Yeah, the beauty of Denver is it'll snow like a son of a bitch like this for a couple hours. They'll get like 3 inches of snow, and then tomorrow it'll be 85 again.
It's mind blowing, right?
Yeah. Good thing that global warming is a hoax.
That actually sounds kind of pleasant. You know?
Yeah, what's better than plowing your driveway and then it melting tomorrow? What's better?
When I lived in Sacramento, it was great. You could go snowboarding in the morning up in the Sierras and water skiing on the Sacramento River in the same day.
It must be tiring. Must be tiring.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I never did it.
That sounds stressful, actually.
But yeah, I mean, you wake up in the Sierras, you wake up there, you do a little snowboarding run, you're out of there by noon, you're back down in Sacramento in the afternoon, a little afternoon water skiing on the river. Nothing wrong with that.
Jesus Christ, that's
by the way, this is the water skiing. I'm not sure if you noticed that. This is the
symbol. Yeah,
water skiing.
if Paul didn't speak and he just did this, you'd know he's water skiing. It couldn't be a moped or pumping a bicycle tire. Nothing, you know, or Wile E. Coyote Dynamite. No, it's definitely this is water ski. How about this? Now it's official.
Which reminds me, my deaf girlfriend told me we need to talk. Not a good sign.
Oh no, we need to talk.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what? I thought we need to talk.
We need to talk. All right. The dogs are out of control already. He's already dropping.
No.
Like, I don't like that they take the ball. They take one of the balls, the squeakiest ball that they can find, and they
That's
drop
the
it
left
in the most,
one, right?
Yeah, they drop it in the most inopportune place to put it. Like it's like they're playing a game of Operation. They can go in there and put that ball in anywhere and not make a sound, and then go, "Hey, look where I put the ball."
Hey Dad, look, this one's clogging the toilet. Hey Dad, no, look at me. I put one in the microwave and it's got a metal squeaker.
Oh yeah, no, they're awesome. I trip over them constantly. He's a good boy. He's good now because I'm rubbing his nose. Now it's okay. I'm gonna take a finger.
Excuse me?
That's what she said. What?
Oh.
By the way, John, you'll like this. Weird find in the CD store this week.
Is that? Oh, I love Hanoi Rocks.
Yeah, it's the box set, Strange Boys box set.
Was that like the first 4 albums, like all put together?
5. It's Bangkok Shocks and Oriental Beat and Self-Destruction Blues and Back to Mystery City and then the live album. So
nice.
Everything up to 2 Steps to the Move.
Is it complete?
You can't get because you can't get any of this stuff. Yeah, it's
that's great.
Yeah, but it's all of the first 5 albums for $52.
And for those that don't know Hanoi Rocks was like one of the original real glam bands that
glam / sleaze. They were sleazy too.
That a lot of guys copied and stuff. That was a big influence. And then of course Michael Monroe went on to do a solo career a little later on.
Here,
and
just look at this picture. All right. That is all right. Let me see if I can get it to focus.
$51.99.
Johnny, pull up a picture of Hanoi Rocks. That is every band on the strip. It's Guns N' Roses. It's Alice in Chains when they were a hair band. It's Jet Boy.
I mean, that's where everyone got it from.
It's where everybody took it from. Hanoi Rocks did it first. Well, second. The New York Dolls did it first. Then Hanoi Rocks, band out of Finland. Most famous for having a drummer that Vince Neil killed.
I was about to say in the famous Ferrari accident with Vince Neil.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at Michael Monroe's face. That's Vince Neil's entire character right there.
That's everyone's shtick.
Yeah. That's Stevie Rochelle. That's Bret Michaels. That's Vince Neil. Hanoi Rocks is an incredibly influential band. And their music is a little punkier, a little less polished than some of the bands that would emulate them later on down the line. They're kind of like Jet Boy.
Michael Monroe's solo was a little more polished.
So yeah. I mean, again, what happened was the legend of Hanoi Rocks sort of exceeds the reality of Hanoi Rocks. They never really broke in this country. Obviously, they were on their way to breaking in this country, and their drummer died because somebody got drunk and got behind the wheel. But they never they're like a name drop band. Hanoi Rocks is the 80s version of Montrose. You know what I mean? Never really a big band.
But everyone knows
them. Everybody references them. Yeah, everyone references them all the time. Sort of like Thin Lizzy, too. Never really big in this country, but everybody loves the band. Hanoi Rocks is one of those bands. And if you're looking for an old school band to get into that is similar to bands like Circus of Power, although Circus of Power is a little more biker rock than that. But the Jet Boys, the Faster Pussycats, Mötley Crüe, that kind of stuff, early Mötley Crüe. Hanoi Rocks is a band you should check out. And that box set is the first 5 records, which are almost impossible to find in this country.
Yeah, if you look at Tame Me Down and you look at Michael Monroe, I mean, it's like, come on, separated at birth much?
Yeah, I mean, it's and again, Vince Neil, all those guys really just sort of copped what. I mean, you look at some of the, you know, the hats that Sammy Yaffa was wearing, and just the outfits. I mean, it's Izzy Stradlin. It's all of those bands. All of those bands on the LA Strip. You know, New York Dolls begat Hanoi Rocks, begat everybody on the LA Strip for the look.
And they were a good band. I mean, I enjoy the music.
Yeah, but they were never big. They
never broke out.
They're an ultimate cult band. It's almost like it's like Motorhead. More people own Motorhead T-shirts than have ever listened to Motorhead the band. Hanoi Rocks is a band that a lot of people go, "Oh, Hanoi Rocks is awesome." Quick, name 3 songs. They just don't.
Name 1 song.
Well, Boulevard of Broken Dreams and their cover of Creedence's "Up Around the Bend." There was a video for "Up Around the Bend." That was kind of cool, where they all show up in a helicopter, and it's a party on. It looks like the lawn of the Playboy Mansion, but it's not. But it's like one of those mansions and they're having this. They show up and fuck up a dinner party.
Awesome.
Wish I was invited. And yeah, it is Taco Tuesday. A couple of people are talking about eating tacos tonight. I got to go get some tacos tonight. I'm in a taco mood.
Question: what do I define as biker rock? Biker rock is a little sleazier, a little dirtier, a little grungier, not clean.
Classic rock, a lot of classic rock too.
A lot of classic rock is biker rock, but like Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction is biker rock. Chrome Division is biker rock. Circus of Power, I would say, Four Horsemen, Little Caesar. You know, bands that you could hear at a Harley rally. They're not pretty enough to be considered a glam band, and they're not filthy enough to be considered a grunge band. They sit sort of right in the middle. A lot of Les Pauls, and if it's not a Les Paul, it's chances are, believe it or not, it's a Gretsch White Falcon. They used a lot of that kind of, you know, rockabilly influence in there as well. That's what I would consider biker rock. Zodiac Mind Warp is a great example of it. The Cult's Electric album is a biker rock album.
Oh, that's definitely a biker album.
Yeah.
There's another one, Paul.
Even a Les Paul on the cover of that one.
I don't know a lot about Surgical Steel, JB. I know, obviously, Arizona band, big Arizona band. And some of the, you know, a lot of the guys that have gone through Surgical Steel have gone on to be bigger bands. But again, another one of those name drop bands that everybody saw pictures of the album cover in like Circus and Cream and stuff like that. And went, "Oh, I want to get into this band," and never really broke out. Decent band, but I don't know a whole lot about them, to be honest with you. But legends here in Arizona.
You know what band I was listening to a lot this week was Svengali. Do you remember Svengali?
I do, yeah.
Svengali had an album called Under the Influence, and they had a song called you know, by the same title, Under the Influence, and it's really, really good. If you want, this is your homework for today, boys and girls. Check out the video for Svengali, 2 words, Under the Influence.
Yeah.
And just tell me that the beginning of that song doesn't have you like just putting your fist in the air or up your ass. I mean, whatever you do, just pump it somewhere, because that is such a driving opening guitar riff. You know,
I have to tap out. I'm getting a lot of digital stutter. From audio. I'll be right back.
And he'll be right back after these words from Bang Energy Drink. Bang. Speaking of choking, Bang Energy Drink. And fish tacos, what goes better with them than Bang Energy Drink? Anyway, Svengali had 3 albums total, but Under the Influence is the one you want to check out, because that song is so freaking good. If you want just metal that, like, you know, just bang your head against the door, it's so
what
good.
Song?
Under the Influence, Svengali. I'm still on that one.
All right.
I started to say they did come out with 2 other albums. One in '95. Let's see.
That was the one that had
Wire.
Yeah, that was the one that almost broke them. As
it was grunge. It was grunge. It was, they tried to adapt to grunge. And here's the thing: Svengali was one of those last tier bands that we always talk about on here that just came in just as the '90s was starting. You know, their album came out in '92, so just pre-Nirvana, you know, or right about the time Nirvana, that like they probably could have been bigger in that later metal scene of the later 80s if they would have come out a little earlier. But, you know, underground guys know all about it. It's got like kind of a cult following to that album. And like Paul said, the second one was just a miserable failure because they tried to be grunge. And the few fans they made that are metal fans were just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it sucked.
Yeah, no, and there's been a couple of different references, by the way, in the comments. People asking about the Rods. The Rods still make records, believe it or not. Long Island band, I believe, still making records. And then Edwin Crane and both Thrash Metal and Edwin Crane were both talking about Wargasm. Fantastic band.
Wargasm's good.
Yeah, a little thrashier than we usually talk about on this show, but fantastic band. Band out of Boston, incredibly loud. If you can pick up their records, good luck finding them. I'll find them for you.
Yeah, show off. You'll never find them. You'll never own them. But I do.
Here you go.
I've got all of them.
Good girls don't, but I do.
The debut was called Why Play Around, and the follow-up was called Ugly. And they have an EP too that you can find out there, but I think the songs that are on Ugly are on the EP too, so it's not like essential owning. But Profile Records, the guys that were responsible for Run DMC, had Wargasm on their label and had no idea what to do with them.
That's quite a mix there.
Yeah,
maybe they'll do a collaboration like Aerosmith did with Walk This Way.
Yeah, Wargasm's a great band. One of the better. There were two great bands out of Massachusetts in the thrash when the thrash thing happened in the late 80s. One is called Wargasm, the one I just showed you, and another one is called Malaya Rage. And Malaya Rage was a band that actually Sully Erna from Godsmack played drums for them briefly, but they've got 4 or 5 albums out and really good. The ones you really want are Kill to Survive and Solitary Solitude. Those are the two. And there's an EP there that they do called Live Kill that's really good, but they've got 5 or 6 albums, but 3 of them are on Epic Records. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be easier for you to find.
They're a good band. I'm only into like certain really thrashy bands. You know, again, obviously the big 5 we've discussed on here and a couple of oddballs, but right. I liked Wargasm. Them I bought.
Wargasm is great. Malaya Rage is great.
I actually have them too.
If you can get into Nuclear Assault, another good band.
Them I already liked.
Yeah, Nuclear Assault's great. I mean, I think, you know, it's funny, you know, John and I think have very similar.
Oil spill!
I think a Buttfuck is a great song because they they break down to a blues break in the middle of it.
Bring in the dildo now!
Come on, we're doing it now. Come on, everybody. This is a song we like to call Buttfuck.
There's your cue.
Come on, bring it. Like in Spinal Tap, lower it down from the sky.
Hey, brought to you by Bang Energy Drink.
Bang Energy Drink. All of a sudden, Arnold got really Jewish there for a second.
Brought to you by Bang Energy Drink.
Bang Energy Drink.
Listen, man, when you're thirsty for a dildo in your ass, this is what I want you to think about. Bang Energy Drink.
Energy is something I don't have.
Proud sponsor of my funeral.
Crocus, Mike Neese brings up. I don't hear. Interesting. You might like this as we get into. Are you a fan of Mark Storace, lead vocalist for Crocus?
Am I?
Well,
look, I bought the Headhunter record as a kid, and I probably wore that tape like twice. I've had to rebuy that tape numerous times. I love that so much.
This will interest you. This is the band Warrior. Remember the band Warrior Fighting for the Earth?
Yeah. I was actually talking about them today. Tommy Asakawa.
Yes. They put out an album called The War of Gods and Men. And the thing about Warrior is Warrior is a heavier version of London, whereas a bunch of people that are in that have been in great metal bands have gone through Warrior. They never really made it. Their first album is fantastic. Fighting for the Earth is a classic from 1985. But they put out 3 other albums, and this was the last one that they put out. And the lead vocalist on this album is Mark Storace from Crocus.
You know what's funny? I have that album. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, it's really strange because you're used to hearing Mark Storace sing kind of like Bon Scott. On this album, he doesn't sound like himself.
That's
He
probably
sounds
why I
like
didn't recognize him.
It sounds like a metal vocalist, but if you go and you look at the personnel on this record, Mark Storace is the lead vocalist, and I was stunned when I bought the record on that the strength of that alone, because I loved the original Warrior. Paramore McCarty was the lead vocalist. Perry McCarty was the singer for Steve Stevens' Atomic Playboys record. That's the guy that was the original singer for Warrior, and he's been in and out of the band a bunch of different times. But when I saw this album, I picked up, I'm like, Warrior has a new album, and I looked at it. It was Mark Storace buying it on a sort of on a whim. Fantastic record.
It's funny. I have the album. I had no idea it was him because, again, like you said, he does sing that kind of, screaming in the night.
Yeah, you're used to that.
Rasp, and I was looking for that. So it's like when I got that album, I didn't notice the difference. I didn't think about it,
Right. But Warrior is one of those bands that is sort of was the training ground, or I don't want to say minor leagues, because that it diminishes the band itself, because they got 4 really good records. And again, on several different labels. The only major label they put out was Fighting for the Earth, but it's been bought up by it was on MCA originally, and then Metal Blade bought it and reissued it. But they did 3 records with Perry McCarty, and then one with actually, I take that back. I think 2 records with Perry McCarty, and then one with Mark Storace, and I think is Bob Rock might be the vocalist on one of their records. The Bob Rock that's not the producer.
I know they've gone through a lot of lineup changes, because I was literally talking about them this morning. I own 2 of Tommy's guitars, and someone asked me for photos of him, and he's like, "Oh, do you have the Fighting for the Earth album?" I'm like, "Well, I have his guitars, so yeah, I have the best album they made."
Yeah.
And we were talking about it this morning. And if you guys out there in the chat do not have Warrior Fighting for the Earth, just play the album through on YouTube, check it out, and good luck. Like Paulie always says, good luck finding a copy. It's really, really, really good, and it's one of those bands that like
Armored Saint.
I don't even know if it's like Armored Saint. It's like certain bands, like they did so many good things and a lot of people don't know about it. Like, like if you look at like Shy, there's another band that like was really good that a lot of people don't have access all areas, but it's like that type of similar following, but you should definitely look it up on YouTube if you haven't heard it.
Warrior is like not to be confused with Warrior Soul, but there's one guy that's in Warrior. His name is Joe Floyd. He's the original, he's the guitar player, brains of the band, songwriter of the band. A lot like Corey Clark. There you go, Brian Spalding. A lot like Corey Clark in Warrior Soul, the band Warrior Soul, who, when people say Warrior, sometimes they get them confused. They're not the same band at all, but similar in style, because very apocalyptic sounding musically. But that Fighting for the Earth record, I mean, the vocal performance in Only the Strong Survive is fantastic.
The whole album's outstanding. It's one of those albums you just play through.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good.
Yeah. Great record. And again, the beauty of that 80s metal scene is you could go from Pretty Boy Floyd and Hanoi Rocks to Warrior and still find the same people at the show. That was the beauty of it, is that we all went to all of those shows. It wasn't as divided as it later became.
Yeah, I mean, later on, it just got so specific to each micro genre, know. It's like, all right, who's opening? It's think of it like the stadium tour. Right now you have Joan Jett opening, well, nobody opening, but when it was scheduled, Joan Jett opening, and then Poison and Mötley Crüe and Def Leppard. They're all kind of like, Joan's a little bit off, but like you'll still go there and watch Joan Jett. She still rocks. But the others are just kind of in that same vein, There's no one thrash band, one glam band, one, it's so specific now.
But
metal.
But the thing is, the Joan Jett, everybody that's there, everybody knows her. Everybody that's at that show.
She's a legacy. She's a legacy.
And so it's definitely it's a comfortable opening, I would say.
What's interesting about Joan Jett is you don't think about how many hits she had until you here, like my favorite song from Joan Jett is one called "Do You Want to Touch." I love that song. It's not one of her biggest hits, but when you go down the Joan Jett greatest hits, you go, "Oh my God, love that song, love that song, love that song." Like she had way more hits than you would have thought. Arguably,
wasn't that a cover also?
I don't know. I think it might have been. Yeah,
I thought it was.
yeah, and but her, well, most of her big hits
Crimson
are
and
covers.
Clover. I love rock and
I
roll.
love rock and roll. Yeah, most of those
They're
songs,
covers.
her cover of Dirty Deeds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she had this tendency to make covers
Good
her
ones,
own.
though.
Yeah, because she took ownership of a lot of them. And there's something about that with her that I've never been to a Joan Jett show and not had a good time. Now, it's not like I would go, "Oh, Jesus, Joan Jett's playing tonight, I got to go." But if you go and she's on the bill, you're like, "All right, this is cool." Like she's always been an adequate act.
She's safe.
Yeah, you're going to have a good time. Nobody is going to be turned off by Joan Jett on the bill. Musically, it's fun. It's an hour-long set. It's fun to listen to. She's a great character. She's a legend. It's a
Great
good time.
guitarist.
It's always a good time.
Great guitarist.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Underrated.
And she was actually one of Desmond Child's top artists, because he wrote her 80s, her late 80s stuff was all Desmond Child stuff. And really quickly,
Good.
I just realized the guy from Warrior, Joe Floyd, you were talking about.
Yeah,
we've had him on the show before.
Oh,
Really?
have you?
He's actually been on here. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, Joe's one of those guys that has sort of hung around the scene and been on the periphery for decades. And his band is solid and has put out some solid music. But he'll never get the name recognition or the notoriety that maybe he deserves. He's just one of those guys that has been in a band, and I don't know if he's been able to make a living at it.
Well, the reason we had him on was because I discovered he actually came up with a brand of guitars.
Yeah,
And really? I saw them at NAMM. I played their guitar at NAMM, and then we had him and then the other guy from the company. They actually gave us a tour of their factory.
Oh,
They're called Electrophonic Innovations.
Oh, nice.
And there's these little guitars with a little speaker, and like effects and everything built
I
into it.
I remember those.
Yeah. If you remember that video, that was Joe Floyd.
Okay.
That was on with us. He was playing the guitar.
I didn't even know it. I mean, from Warrior, I know Tommy Asakawa because he's a really underrated. I mean, he's totally out of the scene now. You know, he just basically left Warrior, and I haven't heard hide nor hair from him. But he was a really good, solid player. You know, and you know, that was pretty much the last I saw. By the way, Boner Jam's in the house, and he brings up, you have Slipknot, Metallica, and Avenged Sevenfold selling out big shows. And there's another example of, like, you know, kind of a mishmash there.
Avenged Sevenfold can't sell out an arena, though, by themselves.
No, but obviously, you know, the others.
The two biggest, I mean, right now, the biggest band in metal continues to be Metallica, and has been and will be for the immediate foreseeable future. But yeah, Slipknot does very well for themselves. Slipknot and Tool are the two sort of real big ones that are out there now. And keep in mind, they've both been around for 25 years now.
Yeah, so they're long term.
Yeah, it's hard to think of, like, you know, as far as and I don't want to say new metal as in the genre, but a newer metal band that does very well is difficult. Avistalite asked if Lita Ford and Joan Jett have bad blood. Yes, there's an awkwardness there that they don't. I don't know what it is. There's an awkwardness, an oil and water situation there that can't figure out. Lita,
the Runaways had their ups and downs all over the place. With
Runaways are like Hanoi Rocks. They're another name drop band. They were never very good. They
but
were
Cherry
a cool
Bomb
novelty.
Great song. If you want to hear what they were about, play Cherry Bomb. It's a really good song.
Yeah, Kim Fowley, who was the sort of the puppet master behind them. You know, the idea of underage girls playing rock and roll wearing bras and panties. It was a good novelty act. It turns out that you know, two of the members went on to be relatively successful. I mean, Lita.
Wait, hold on. Do you hear that? I think Ben Tom's son is masturbating.
Ah, there you go. Well done.
Said underage girls in bras and panties. I specifically heard some fapping. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Paul.
Renus Pinkle. Can't forget Anvil sells out arenas. Yes, they do.
They sure do.
I'll tell you what, if you ever want to see a sad documentary, the Anvil documentary is sad. It is, and I don't mean that. I don't want to shit on Anvil because, again, another unsung influence in the early 80s. A lot of people dig them. But Jesus, that is just watching them over in
Civilization 2 alone, major, big thing,
They are, but Anvil, I mean, watching them try to play, I think they were playing a bowling alley or some shit in Germany, and there are like 8 people there and they're not getting paid. I mean, it is just
they're throwing the ball at them. It's like, hey.
It's awful. Just a terrible. I mean, just you feel bad for them because somebody needs to tell Steve Kudlow it's over. He's obviously a rich kid. I think his father's a doctor. And I think his father's a doctor, and he's just one of those kids that they tried to support his dream, not realizing it's a nightmare. And just the nicest guy in the world. And you want to talk about a band in the early 80s, a band that would be playing a guitar solo in the middle of their solo. A guy would whip out a vibrator. Steve would whip out a vibrator and put it on the strings while he was playing to make sounds and shit like that. I mean, Anvil was pretty funny in their day.
Paul Gilbert took that idea and put it into a
it's
drill.
possible.
He's like, maybe not a bad idea. They influenced everybody.
They were. Well, here's the thing: Metal on Metal was considered a fairly decent record, and guys like legitimately Metallica were influenced by Anvil. Anvil just never got better.
No, I mean there were certain early 80s bands like you have Anvil, you have Venom, you have Raven.
Yeah.
Those guys were like all I saw them on every desk that I sat on in school. Oh, someone likes Raven. Oh, cool. But like neither of them, no 3 of them got really anywhere, but Anvil like kind of trailed behind even the other 2.
Yeah, but it's weird too because you want to like them, they're just not good. You
like the idea of them, but you're like,
yes.
If only you guys play good music.
They're nice guys, and you're rooting for them.
You're rooting
for them. You really are. You're rooting for them, and then you see them come out on stage and they start playing, and about 5 minutes into it, you're like, oh. Yeah, Anvil maintained their own standard. They were shooting for mediocrity and occasionally hit it.
Yeah, his father's backstage. Son, we need to talk.
And here's the thing.
You're 61. I think I have financed your dream as much as I possibly could. There's 3 people in the stadium, and 2 of them are sleeping. And one is sleeping.
They're just not good. I mean, and the thing is, like, I'm shitting on them, and I don't want to shit on them.
No, they're very likable. They're almost like Spinal Tap in real life.
Yes, it's really sad, like in a shit kind of way. Like
Brian Spaulding says, they maintain their own standard, sort of like this show. It's going to be a shit-covered train wreck, but we're very, very consistent about the quality or lack thereof of the product. And same with Anvil. You know what you're getting.
Anvil is that's the sad part. Like Anvil will make you feel good about your own local band's career. Like my band, as unsuccessful as we were, at least it wasn't Anvil. Like I would rather have not made it than had the door open and have that happen to me. I mean, Anvil they had everything going for them. They were playing fucking festivals and shit in the 80s. They had, like, everybody was like, oh, Anvil, the next big thing. And then they got on stage and he went, oh, Anvil.
It's like you really want to be the opening act for Anvil so you can like go home proud saying, man, we blew away the headliner.
Yeah. A lot of people have that story.
Yeah.
And again, and Chris Bevan is like, listen to the old shit. I agree with you.
Literally it is the old shit.
The old shit, because they've made a couple albums over the past couple of years. Nobody cares. Now that said, what was interesting is I believe, and somebody will correct me, but was it not Chris Sangarides who like produced the record at the end of the Anvil movie? It was like either Chris Sangarides or Michael Wagner or somebody like that. Like one of those guys out of pity was like, I'm not kidding. Out of pity was like, look, I like you guys. I'll mix the record. We'll see what happens. Nothing happened.
Something
Nothing.
like that.
It's
I
like-
saw that. I saw it.
You want to see? Go ahead,
But
Jetty.
but Anvil, I mean that, you know, I mean they are kind of like a real life Smile Tap. I mean that could just be their stick. That could just be their thing.
No, it's a joke nobody let them in on. It really is. And again, I mean, Steve Kudlow goes by the nickname Lips, and Lips is he's the nice guy, but you can tell he's oblivious to the fact that he's like one of those guys that hangs on too long. The guy that shows up at the 30th year high school reunion wearing his Letterman jacket. Like it's over.
It's
Go
over.
home.
It's over, Johnny. No, it's like, you know, that like, you know, as the band's backstage in the gas station that they just sold out 12 folding chairs, you know, as those people are leaving like this, and you know, like right around the corner is his father, like, here's your 20, here's your 20,
Yeah.
here's your 20, thank you, here's your 20, never again, come on.
Yeah, and you see it in the documentary. If you haven't seen the documentary, they do interviews. They do like confessional interviews with like Lips's brother and sister, who are all very successful, like doctors and dentists and shit. And they're like, Steve's always been a free spirit. Like they all know he's the family fuck up.
He's like living in dad's garage, you know.
Yeah, he's like Billy Carter. You know what I mean? He's just people just kind of go, oh, let me tell you about my son, the dentist, and my daughter, the lawyer, and my other son, the musician,
the doc.
So it's just, and again, I like, there are certain bands I will shit on because they're assholes and they deserve to be shit on. Rick Fox Steeler, but Anvil aren't that band. Anvil is a band that you're kind of like, God, I hope they get something together. I hope they can put together a moment. 30 some odd years, they haven't put together a moment.
I don't have them on CD. I don't believe. I know I have them on cassette. Same with Raven. Same with Venom. Just because what are you buying at that time? Whatever's around, you're buying. Right. You see it on someone's denim jacket. Raven had a cool logo, and Venom sounded cool. And Anvil, it's like, didn't Wile E. Coyote drop you off?
But don't you? I mean, and here's the thing. The thing about Raven is we all loved Wacko, the drummer that showed up in hockey gear. He would be playing drums in hockey gear.
They tried everything.
They were. I remember they did a cover of the Spencer Davis group, "Gimme Good Lovin'," and or "Gimme Some Lovin'." Sorry, and it was awful. But I saw them, Wasp, Saxon, and Raven, at the Orpheum Theater in 1985 in Boston, Massachusetts, and they were fucking awesome. Raven was awesome live.
Oh, that's
a much better band.
There he is.
Yeah, a much better band.
Is it me? If you want to me or does away, man? There's your method.
And I think it's I forget. I think it's a Gallagher, the guy. I think it's Rob Gallagher or something. The guy on the right with the spiky hair. Is it me or does he look like Vivian from the Young Ones?
No, it's actually Gallagher with the sledge-o-matic and a water. It's not Gallagher.
Yeah, I think it's Rob Gallagher or Tommy Gallagher. I correct me if I'm wrong on that. I could be wrong. The idea that I don't know the names of the guys in Raven, I should not be on this show. Clearly,
the idea that you do know the names of the guys.
But he always reminds me of Vivian from the Young Ones for whatever reason.
Look, like I said, I supported them. I bought their products. I bought we're allowed to make fun because we bought. Oh, Glenn Allen, not related to Gigi Allen, says, "Hey, do you guys remember Manowar?" Yes, that was another band right in that genre, but also better.
Manowar had some great songs. All Men Play on 10 was a great song. Fighting the World is great. Hey, who didn't turn on Headbangers Ball and see the video for Blow Your Speakers every week for like 2 years?
Yeah.
And then you looked at them and you realized they were wearing leather panties on stage. No, and the idea that Joey DeMeo, one of three guys in metal bands that played Rickenbacker basses. There was Joey DeMeo, Cliff Burton, and Lemmy.
Nice.
And what a set of pipes on their lead vocalist.
Exceptional.
I'm sorry?
Lemmy was exceptional.
Yeah. No, the Man of War was I own their catalog. I don't own it on CD. My buddy of mine gave me digital copies of everything because I'm not spending money on Man of War.
I have a couple of theirs on CD. Just, you know what it is? It's the nostalgia. That's what you listen to back when, like, your buddy got his first car and he's like, hey, pick something from that case. It's like, Man of War, Raven. Ooh, Anvil. Yeah. Yeah, let's go with it, man.
I own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 27. Holy shit, how much Man of War do I own?
Just say all of them.
I own all of them.
Did they make that many?
Every printing.
I thought they made somewhere into the teens.
No, I mean, battle hymns, blow your speakers, courage, defender.
Are those all studio?
Fighting the world, gods of war, hail to England. Here's a Stahl into Glory Ride, Kings of Kings, Kings of Metal, Louder Than Hell, Man of War Kills, Metal Warriors. I mean, Jesus Christ, Return of the Warlord.
I have that many. I think I have probably about like 15.
Sign of the Head, Steel Warriors, the Hell of Steel, the Kingdom of Steel, Sons of Odin, Triumph of Steel, Thunder in the Sky, Warriors of the World, United 1, 2, and 3. Holy shit! I own a lot of Man of War.
They must have been like in the studio every weekend. I didn't realize I was missing so much. I thought I had like everything because I had about 15 albums from them between cassettes and CDs.
A lot of people in the chat going, Geddy Lee also played at Rickenbacker. Rush is not a metal band.
No, but you know what? He's actually in the news this week. Do you hear?
Right.
He was trending on Twitter today that everyone assumed he died. And he's like, oh my God, someone's texting me. I'm trending on Twitter. Let's see what they got on me. And he looked and he's like, I'm dead? I'm not dead. He's like, he says, I asked my dog, am I dead? And the dog's looking at him. He says, my dog says I'm boring, but I'm very much alive. It's a rumor. So
yeah, that's because there was a cutout of him at one of the baseball games. You know how they're doing the cutouts of people, in the stands, and there was a Geddy Lee cutout at a baseball game. So it was the whole Weekend at Bernie's joke.
That's hilarious. Well, Johnny and I were talking. We're going to do a show with just us as cutouts, and we're going to get our daily shit done. Like I'll be food shopping. I'll be like making dick jokes as cupcakes. Yeah, hostess. Penises. Metal. Penises. But there will be the cutout of me like, something like that. Jay Hannon in the house. Hey now.
Hey now. Hey Jay.
Hello, Jay.
Hey Jay.
Jay would have loved that conversation about Man of War because they are the most metal of metal bands.
How much metal can you get? Can you stuff metal up your ass? Metal! Every other album is named after metal. Something steel, fire and steel. Steel up your ass. Scythe of steel, death of steel, steel from above. Steel coming down on you.
Glory metal, thunder gods, mercy. Everything, and then it turns out
silver laser, razor, lightning. That's our next album cover.
And then it turns out their drummer was arrested for child porn.
He's sharing a cell with Ferris Bueller's principal. So, what are you in for? You won't believe it.
Oh, that's how it is in their band.
Could you imagine like being in Man of War? It's like, well, guys, don't you want to tour? No, man, come on. We got to get back to the studio. What? We just came out with an album. Yeah, but our fans are bored already. We got to get another album. This one we'll call Wolf Fire Electric Iron Fist. All right.
Here's something you'll never hear at a Man-O-War show. This is our ballad.
The opening act.
This is our ballad. It's a song we wrote for the women.
What women? This one girl polishing the handlebars of the railings of the stairs. I don't care.
Yeah, that's got to be the scariest proposition in the history of music, being the one girl at a Man-O-War show.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah. Even the 6 girls at the Rush show are like, oh, I wouldn't go there.
let's all go to the bathroom together. Come on, anybody? Fuck.
Yeah, Mr. Hellstorm making a Nick Cat-Niece reference. Another awful story.
Murder Hornets. That band sounds heavy as hell. Rena says.
Yeah,
that's actually a great name for a band. If no one grabs that,
oh, somebody's already got it.
Yeah,
you know they have.
Murder Hornets. It's like, yeah.
Renus Pinkel brings up an interesting phrase. Metallica loves you. I hate that. I hate
what?
I hate Happy James. I hate up with people Metallica. I love Metallica. But when you go to the shows like Metallica, are you here to have a good time? Metallica loves you. Everybody be safe. Fuck you. Creeping death.
Isn't that like a Karen saying, like live, laugh, love? Kind of something like that.
Oh, no kidding. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe
yeah,
Metallica's next album will be called that. Live, laugh, love.
There is a Murder Hornets. The Murder Hornets.
Of course there is.
Of course.
It's a punk band.
Yeah, it didn't take any long.
We're the Murder Hornets.
Jay Hannon teasing a potential Saturday Night Live unboxing.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
I know he said Friday.
Yeah.
I may or may not
maybe Friday.
Unboxing on Friday. Well, if not, maybe it will be on Saturday. Just watch both shows.
Yes.
Watch all the shows on the Johnny Beane network. Yeah,
don't miss a one. Collect them all.
Even when we're not on, watch a rerun.
Yeah, just have the channel set to autoplay and just watch all the episodes you missed.
Actually, we can you can't do that on YouTube. It's all, you have to actually press play. But over on Twitch, you can actually have stuff playing 24 hours.
And that's what it should be. It should be like MTV used to be. Good content all the time. Or at least the content we put out. So, whatever. Speaking of watching shows, this Saturday, I will be a guest on Communication Breakdown, which is Sandra Picorni and Gary Thollander's YouTube show.
Picorni. We love you long time.
Brian Spalding says this 4 thumbs down already. What did we do wrong? Well,
it's early.
What did we do right?
It's early.
We've still got
already.
We've still got more show to fuck up for you.
There's only 4. Can we make it 5?
It's a slow week.
Anyway, watch Communication Breakdown on Saturday. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'll bring a lot of stupidity, so don't worry about it. I'll ruin their show too, the way I ruined ours. We'll be talking about everything from cartoons, relationship drama, metal, dildos, you name it. Anything goes. I'll be taking questions from the chat. It'll be fun. Just trust me. I'll ruin their show just as much as I do ours.
Awesome.
No.
Oh.
There we go. Hi, Ace.
Buddy. He's my buddy.
I've got your balls in my mouth, Daddy.
Boy.
Oh.
That was my eye.
Oh. Well, you shot one in my eye last night.
Oh, lick me in the eye.
Jeez.
Gross. Oh, that was fucking gross. I have dog spit in my eye.
Not as bad as what you did.
Oh. I'm going to get conjunctivitis now.
You should probably watch that. Because did you hear about the guy that kissed his dog and he died?
What's this?
Did you ever hear about that?
What was it? A tongue kiss of a pit bull? What happened?
John BL, are you here?
Did he kiss his balls? What
No. Somebody like the dog's saliva like made the guy sick and he passed away.
All right. Well, I'll go wash my eye.
Yeah, flush
I'll
your
be
eye,
right back.
Paulie. So let's
Gross.
see. Paulie's flushing his eye out. Let's see. I'll tell you about fun with my mother this week. So my mother calls me the other day and she says, I'm watching a show with Amy Schumer on it, and she's making cream spinach. Her husband's a chef, and she's making cream spinach. How do you make cream spinach, John? Don't you make that sometimes? I said, yeah, Mom. Well, how do you do it? I said, well, let's see. I take butter, saute some garlic, some onions. Well, that's what she does. Okay, well, maybe she stole my recipe. And then I take some milk, some heavy cream, and some cream cheese, and I make a sauce. Oh, no, I think you're making it wrong because she didn't have milk and cream cheese. She just had cream. And if her husband's a chef, I mean, I'm sure he knows how to make it. So I think you're making it wrong. I'm like, yeah, I kind of have my own recipe, Ma. I followed someone else's recipe, and then I take spinach in there. Well, yeah, they all have spinach, but I think you're making it wrong. Well, I put Parmesan cheese in there. Oh, she didn't do that. I don't know. Does that work? Yeah, Ma, it's fine. So yeah, my mom's mesmerized by Amy Schumer's ability to learn how to cook. Enough to criticize me. And listen, there's so much less drama at the house. The garbage pail that she was worried about that blew off the driveway, lo and behold, the mailman brought it up for her. So that tragedy is averted. Make no mistake, for those not following the storyline, I've been getting about 2 phone calls a day from my mother. What do I do about the garbage pail? I don't know. Should I buy another one? You don't need another one, Mom. It's probably blown down the street. Well, I can't get down the street. I better buy another one. What if someone stole it? We have thieves for neighbors. Should I call the police and tell them we had a garbage pail stolen? Yeah, Mom, there's rioting in the streets. I'm sure they're pretty unoccupied right now. Go call them, see if they'll do something. Just see if they'll do something, Mom. Maybe they'll put it on APB for your garbage pail. What's your garbage pail look like, man? Well, it's green. It had garbage in it. That's about it. Oh, and it had a lid. Look for one with a lid, and it was stolen from this vicinity.
Green with garbage.
Yeah, so that's my
Or is that the rest part of the recipe?
and today she called me with a winner. She said, I bought her on Amazon. I bought her some cookies and teas. She likes these exotic teas, so I bought her some cookies and teas. And I said, Mom, your package arrived today. And she's like, oh no, I'm looking out the window. I don't see it. And when Amazon drops off the package, they send you a photograph of the actual package where it's lying. So. Mm-hmm. She goes to me. She's like, I'm looking out the window. It's not there. Probably someone stole it, just like the garbage pail. We have a lot of thieves out here. I'm like, Ma, you live in a good area. There's no thieves stealing your Amazon package. It's right there behind the door. Well, I don't see it. It's on the other side of the door. I can't see that far. It's probably not there. No, Mom, it's there. Just open the door. Well, I don't want to open the door if the package isn't there and I don't see it. Mom, it's there. I swear to you, the package is there. I'm looking at a photo of it. Sure enough, she's like, well, all right, I'll go take a look. You're right. The package was there. Hey! But these are the things I get phone calls from all week. All week, I will get these phone calls. My garbage pail's gone. I think the mail is here, but I don't want to get it. What should I do? What should you do? Go get the fucking mail. There you go, Paulie.
Hang on.
He can't hear you. And yeah, it was back in
my day.
2019. Was it a guy was licked by his dog and he contracted a rare skin disease?
Oh, no
well,
kidding.
it's licked on his anus. It's a different thing.
Oh gosh. Man dies from rare skin disease after being licked by a dog.
Gross.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this.
Peanut butter on his shaft? Is that what was going on? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, I know you like the cookie kind.
He's done worse. He's almost removed an eye at one point. When I'm sleeping, sometimes he'll paw me to wake me up. and I've gotten the claw like right in there in the inside of the eye. He's almost removed an eye before.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, he's all right. He's a good dog. He'd never hurt me, but
Not
he could kill
intentional.
me, and he could kill me inadvertently.
Wow. Not
If I
intentional.
show up with an eye patch, you'll know why.
Oh man.
So
So-
should we get into any news and stuff early? I understand we have a short show tonight.
Well, we're gonna stop at 8:00 tonight. So we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
We got an hour and 45 minutes to go.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah,
didn't wanna-
I'm pacing it out. I'm
all
pacing.
right.
But let's do a little bit of news. Let's start with, here's a question for you guys and for the chat, sort of a speculative thing because it almost happened. Would Mötley Crüe's self-titled album, when Vince Neil left, they got John Corabi, you all know how that turned out. Would that album have been better if they had gone for Sebastian Bach of Skid Row as their replacement frontman for Vince? Now,
No.
again, let's also put the subjective. By the time that album came out, you were starting in the grunge era. So there was no way that album was going to be a smash success. But you know how it turned out. Would it have been a better album, a better band? What do you think, Paulie?
I would say no, because I happen to love that record, and I love what Corabi brought to the band. I also loved the scream, so I don't know that I have an unbiased opinion there. I think that most of the stuff that John Corabi does is fantastic, and I think that that's a good record, a good Mötley Crüe record, for where they were at the time, and I wouldn't want to change it. I don't know that Sebastian Bach is the same kind of a singer. I don't know that the material that Nikki Sixx would have written would have fit for Sebastian Bach. I think that it would have been a different record. I don't think it would have had the same feel. That said, Sebastian Bach singing for Mötley Crüe would have been cool. I just don't think that record would have been better with Sebastian on it. I think it would have sounded different. I don't think it would be. We have the benefit of hindsight now of knowing what the record sounds like with Corabi on it. So I think it would have been a different record. I don't know if it would have been better. I don't think it would be the same.
Well,
You know what I mean?
also,
I don't think I can't hear Sebastian Bach singing Hooligan's Holiday.
but let's throw this into the mix too. My own opinion, I think it would have been fan-fucking-tastic, but I also think that they would have written different songs. I think there would have been different collaboration. I think they would have written it for a different vocalist.
Yes.
And make no mistake, Corabi's album was a good, solid album. It wasn't technically a Mötley Crüe album. I think they should have like retitled it something else. But like, I think with Bass, I think it would have been a great mix because he's an incredible frontman, you know, and I think his voice and his personality inspiring those guys to write a little more energetic songs, you know, for his style. So I think it would have been a terrific album. Johnny.
I want to add something to it though. Sebastian Bach is not a great songwriter.
Great performer, great vocalist.
Yeah, he's not a great songwriter. So what he brings to the table is a voice and nothing else, really. So you have to say to yourself, what would Nikki Sixx have written for Sebastian Bach? Let's look at the stuff that Nikki Sixx has written outside of Mötley Crüe. Brides of Destruction record, about half of that record is worth the shit. The rest of it is absolute shit.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. is awful. 6 a.m. is fucking awful, whiny mope rock.
I don't dislike them. I don't dislike them. They're not Mötley Crüe.
I hate it. I think it's awful. So I think that you have to ask yourself, what frame of mind was Nikki Sixx in? Was he fucked up at the time or was he sober at the time? Because Nikki Sixx, for all of his, and we've talked about this before on the Saturday Night Show, for all of the musical ability that he lacks as a bass player, he's an exceptional songwriter. And has been for a long time. Whether we like Mötley Crüe or not, the dossier is full of great songs that define that era of music. So his songwriting can't be questioned. You got to ask yourself, how would he have written for Sebastian Bach?
High energy.
In 1994.
High energy.
Maybe. Keep in mind, remember, what does the Thick Skin album sound like from from Skid Row, because that's where they were in the middle of their
But
Subhuman Race.
But that's again, that's not like, you know, that's Rachel Bolan mostly writing that stuff with Dave Sabo. You know,
I understand that.
But I think Nikki would have basically said, here's a fresh lightning ball of energy, and we need to cut him loose, like the type of songs, fast and hard, like Kickstart My Heart, and we can catch that lightning in a bottle again. I don't think they would have written the lower, darker stuff that they did for Karabi.
I think they would have had to. I think, look at what Nikki has done. He saw the writing on the wall for all of the things that we talk about with Mötley Crüe. Look at what they've written since 1994. A lot of it is tuned down. Now, obviously, that's because Vince can't sing worth of shit, but they tune a lot of it down. It's heavier, it's fatter, it's thicker. Since the 90s, Mötley Crüe have written heavier, fatter music. And I don't know that Sebastian would have been the singer for that. And you say to yourself, well, when Vince came back, why didn't they write party music? Saints of Los Angeles is still a pretty heavy friggin' song.
And it's
I mean?
Good energy song.
But my point being, though, is Nikki is writing differently now than he did at that point. If they had written a record that was supposed to be the follow-up to Dr. Feelgood, maybe Sebastian Bach is the right guy. But there was definitely a shift in the way Nikki Sixx was writing, and you see it with the Brides record and with the 6 a.m. records. His style, whether it's because he was in the drugs or whether he was coming out of the drugs, whatever it was, whatever's coming out of Nikki Sixx, the songwriter at the time, I don't know that it is compatible with what Sebastian Bach brings to the table. And again, we're all speculating here. It might have been fucking awesome, and it could have been awesome. You say to yourself, well, the parts, if you put all the parts together, Sebastian Bach's amazing voice with some of Nikki Sixx's songwriting, that would be great. I can hear Sebastian Bach singing Livewire, no problem. I can hear him singing All in the Name of. I can hear him singing Dr. Feelgood. All of that makes sense. I don't know that I can hear Sebastian Bach singing Hooligan's Holiday. I don't think it's, you know, and I don't know.
I agree with that. Like I said, I just think it wouldn't have been as dark. I just think, you know, coming out of Karabi is just such a darker vibe. It's a lower tempo vibe. It's Sebastian is just, I mean, the guy's a bouncing ball of energy with those pipes and with that stage presence. You want to write that balls to the wall album. I think that would have inspired them to go, hey, Mick, bring it up.
But John, you got to think about what's happening at the time, music wise, like what's on the charts, like what's big.
And Nikki has a great sense. Nikki has a great sense for that, though.
But that's the thing. I think they thought Karabi would darken it up into the grunge area, you know, esque. And I think they wouldn't have gone that direction if they had bass. I think even with things going on, I think they would have tried to plow through, like some bands, you know, tried also. But when you have Sebastian Bach, who arguably was one of the hottest frontmen of the 80s, and your Mötley Crüe just off of...
You got to remember, you just said was.
True, but again, was, and now you basically have a super group, essentially. You know?
Yeah, but on paper things work, and in reality they don't. I mean, on paper, Gary Cherone should have worked with Van Halen, but it didn't. On paper, you know, you take certain bands, you put them together, and you say, well, this should have been a thing. You know, Contraband should have worked, but it didn't.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Just because you've got a great singer and a great band doesn't mean that they can work together and that it's going to work.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like you said,
you know, I mean, look at Ian Gillan. Look at Ian Gillan with Black Sabbath. I like that record, but when you look at it overall, it's a failure. But and you would think to yourself, well, Ian Gillan has a great voice and could sing dark music along with Black Sabbath, but it just doesn't work. Sabbath music was written for a certain style of vocalist. Ian Gillan is not that style of vocalist. I don't know that Sebastian Bach. One of the thing about Sebastian Bach is he could sing Slave to the Grind, but that's not what he did. Sebastian Bach is a bubblegum vocalist. His voice is too pure and too sweet to sing aggressive music regularly.
Oh, I disagree with that. You're thinking I Remember You, but you're telling me Slave to the Grind wasn't a real hard edge song? I thought that was fucking
I think that was Rachel and Snake writing music and telling Sebastian, we want you to sing this style of music, because
he did a great job on it, though.
I understand that, but that's not what he wants to do. That's not what Sebastian Bach wants to do. Sebastian Bach is not a metal singer.
And it
He's
was
a rock
commercial.
singer.
It was commercial too.
He's not that style of singer. His voice is best set singing the I Remember You and the 18 in Lives. Those ballads are what he does best.
Oh, it is what he does best, but
right. I don't think that's where his heart is.
But he likes the aggressive stuff. He does like to get into it and just kind of, beat down a song. I mean, I think the Slave to the Grind arguably was a harder record than the first.
Oh, sure, absolutely. But that's by design. The band wanted that.
Absolutely. But I
think McGee and John Bon Jovi said this first Skid Row record, because we're getting paid on the first 2 Skid Row records. And that's what some people don't realize, is that part of the deal with Dave Szabo and John Bon Jovi is they both made a deal when they were first coming up. Whichever one of us makes it first helps the other guy out.
Right, because they're old friends from New Jersey.
Yeah, and Dave is actually on some of the demos, the John Bon Jovi demos that he did before Bon Jovi was a big band. And they made it a pact to work together. That said, part of that pact was, okay, we're going to help you get a record deal. We're going to help you get management. Doc McGee is going to help you get your feet wet and get going, but we want a little on the back end. We're going to get something on the back end. So it's no surprise that the first Skid Row record was a massive hit. The second Skid Row record, they started to assert their own personality, and it was a better record, I think, than the first record overall, but not as big a hit. However, they saw the future, and Skid Row was moving toward the Pantera world before that happened, before that heavier edge of music happened. And so Skid Row, Sebastian Bach was too good looking and too poppy and too much of a pinup idol to credibly front that band doing that kind of music. So he ended up out, because their next record, Subhuman Race, is a great record. Nobody gave a shit, because they all saw Skid Row as 18 in Life, I Remember You, Bon Jovi's protege.
Ballads.
And both Adam from FU Tone, hey man, and Fruitcake Tone both bring up the song Monkey Business, which was also another hard edge, grittier song for Bass to sing. And I think he did a phenomenal job killing that song.
I understand what you're saying.
I mean, he's got an anger in him. He's great in belting out of his vocals,
I think if he were as good as we want him to be, he wouldn't be as obscure as he is today. Great, talented singers find a way to find another avenue to come out. And whether it's because Sebastian is an asshole as a human being, which we know he is, or that he just can't pull it off anymore, which is not true. He can still sing. For whatever reason, he hasn't been able, a guy that's supposed to be this great vocalist of that great era, Mötley Crüe, Vince Neil had success as a solo singer, but Sebastian Bach hasn't. For whatever reason, Sebastian, I don't think he's ever found his way.
Wait. Vince Neil, you said?
Yeah, Vince Neil had success as a solo singer. He had hits.
What success did Vince have on his own?
You're Invited, but your friends can't come was a hit.
It was in a movie.
Yeah, Tattoos and Tequila
was on a soundtrack.
Those records did all right.
I don't see that as a hit. I mean, I think it was a solid records. I like his solo stuff, but you know what? I like Sebastian Bach doing solo stuff too. I've seen him solo, and with that also said, he did just the other day, and this, you guys can watch it on YouTube, not now, but later. He did almost like a duet with Steve Perry on that song, Oh Sherry. He basically played Perry in the background, and he got on the mic and was doing a duet with him. He was terrific. I mean, he has amazing vocal chops to this day, and I think he would have been phenomenal. I think he would have been actually a really good fit. And sure, would the album have been bad timing like every other album was at that time when grunge started? Sure. But with that said, I mean, he's just such a good frontman and such a good voice to this day. And again,
Nikki Sixx would have beat the shit out of him within 6 months.
I didn't say they play well with others. Neither of them did. Neither of them did.
Nikki Sixx would have beat the shit out of him within 6 months. That
Look,
would have been.
Nikki has an incredible work ethic. Bass likes to play around. I don't know if those two would have gelled.
Nope.
Tommy and him probably would have gone along well. I mean, keep in mind, the bands knew each other well. They're friends.
I get it.
Worked together, and now that of course is different than working together. And I think Nikki's work ethic versus Bass's, free balling ways might have had a little clash. But there he is right now, recently singing "Oh Sherry" with a recording of Steve Perry, and he sounded terrific. I think he sounded terrific. He's a very, very versatile frontman.
I don't think he would have fit well with that Mötley Crüe record. And meanwhile, all of this time we've been cutting Johnny out. Johnny Beane has something he was supposed to add to this, and he's been waiting patiently.
Well, let's hold on one second. Hold on. Let's do this right. Johnny,
I have to use the bathroom.
Mother,
All right, good talk.
Done it again.
No. I mean, as far as the I can't even remember what you guys were talking about. The Mötley Crüe. You're talking about Sebastian Bach fronting Mötley Crüe.
Do you watch
on that 94 record?
On the 94 record.
And again, it might have been written differently, Johnny.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, like a lot of this stuff, you kind of have to go with the times. With what's actually commercial. Otherwise, you're not gonna. Yeah, you're gonna sell records to maybe.
How many metal bands went with the times? They failed.
Metallica did.
Metallica is like the only one.
Yeah, and they eked through because they were just so big and so hard that you couldn't really argue with Metallica. You could say technically Megadeth did it too.
Yeah, but Megadeth failed at it.
I still like
that. That risk record was awful.
I liked it. I like all Megadeth. I mean, I'm biased, so
Cryptic Writings was good, but Risk was, in comparison. Here's the thing: people like to shit on Metallica during that period, but you go back and listen to some of those songs. Bleeding Me is a fantastic song. King Nothing is a fantastic song. 2x4, Ain't My Bitch. All those songs on the Load and the Reload records, with the exception of I did not like Until It Sleeps at all. Hated that song.
I liked it.
But those records have some really fucking good songs on them that we tend to if those records had not been compared to the Black Album and Master of Puppets, the bad songs on Metallica's, the quote unquote bad songs on Metallica's Load and Reload records are songs that any other metal band on the face of the earth would give their major organs to have been part of.
Well, because you're comparing Metallica at their best versus them at a weak point, but their weak point.
I don't think that's a weak point.
Hold on. Their weak point is better than a lot of bands' highs. You can't compare the early records to Load and Reload. But again, with that said, if the early records are up here and Load and Reload are down here in quality, this is also where most bands are at. So Metallica's throwaways are a lot of bands' gold, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean they're better than what most bands. Most bands would give anything to write Fuel, or write 2x4, or even Low Man's Lyric, which I think is a very underrated song. There are some things that Metallica has done that I think are garbage. Unforgiven 2, I hate. Unforgiven 3, I hate. But I'm in the extreme minority. I love what Saint Anger was for what it was. It was intentionally abrasive, intentionally against the mainstream, intentionally this noisy, angry, fucked up, cacophonous record.
See, and that's one I hated.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to be what it was. It was supposed to be what it was, anti-everything. Now, if you want a record that was better than Metallica's Saint Anger, that came out at the exact same time, Anthrax's We've Come For You All is a brilliant record.
Anthrax is another band that I consider very consistent in quality.
Fantastic band, even with two great lead singers, two different but great lead singers.
Let's see. The truth is, yes, I'd be to his coworkers. And we want
Absolutely.
Yeah, Fruitcake Tony brings up a great point.
Yep.
Skid Row should have had a long, successful career. Bass is very likable to us fans, but the truth is he's an SOB to his coworkers. Nobody wants to work with him. Acts very much like Axl Rose. The only difference is Axl Rose was just stubborn to everybody and everything. He would yell at the audience. He would yell at the promoter. He wouldn't want to show up. He'd leave after one song. He'd show up 4 hours late. I mean, he really was, you know, for lack of a better word, I mean, he was just a prick to everybody in the business. Bass clashed with his coworkers. There's the difference. But the audience, he didn't have issues with the audience. He didn't show up late or blow off shows. You know, I mean, you know, okay, you had that bottle incident. That was a unique thing, but you know, it was basically not, you know, not playing nice with his bandmates. And that happens, you know, Don Doc and George Lynch, Eddie and Dave. I mean, you know, pick one.
Yeah. I mean, Sebastian Bach is a lot like Michael Schenker and Richie Blackmore and, you know, and Axl and, you know, probably David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar and Eddie Van Halen and Jimmy Page. There are certain people that are just tough to work with. When you get them on tape, they can be lightning in a bottle. And Sebastian has that. Sebastian Bach reminds me a lot of an athlete that was given God-given talent and just squandered it. He's got an amazing voice. He was for a long time and still is holding up pretty good. Picture perfect from a visual standpoint at the time. Could have been, he's
vocally, he's sharp. Vocally, he's very sharp to the day.
He was every bit as good looking as John Bon Jovi and a better singer. He should have been massive.
John knew how to work the audience better than pretty much any frontman of the 80s I could think of.
Well, that's because he learned from Springsteen. I mean, Springsteen is a master showman. Not a great singer.
Yeah, and again, for a different audience, but
the same shtick.
Imagine if Springsteen made a metal record.
Yeah, would Bruce Springsteen have been a better frontman in Mötley Crüe than John Corabi?
Yeah. Would have been a better singer than Vince Neil.
I actually think, as far as Springsteen, I think he would make
Hooligans Holiday.
He would actually make any band better. Springsteen, I think.
I mean,
Springsteen has a likability thing to him. I don't like Springsteen, but he's very likable.
He's, you know, he's New Jersey's Billy Joel. I mean, he's that hometown boy everybody likes. You know, to New York, everyone loves Billy Joel. You know?
Nobody does a better show than Bruce Springsteen. You're never going to, I mean, as far as one guy putting out on stage for 4 hours a night, it's ridiculous the amount of effort he puts into his shows. No pyro, no effects.
I submit to you, Mr. Elton John.
Stadiums, right?
Yes, stadiums.
Elton
Did
John.
did you guys see the video? Did you guys see the video of he was on stage? I think it was a stadium, and somebody passed their little kid up to him, and he was like holding the kid, walking around singing.
I love young boys and touching them.
No.
No, Springsteen.
Speaking of touching children, it's time for Bang Drink. It's time to point out our sponsor, Delicious.
No, they're not.
Kids love it.
And I'm getting the digital stutter again, so I'm going to tack out and jump back in again.
Just for
no, Springsteen would make any band better, man.
With the show.
Springsteen is I know he's not metal, but he's one of the biggest.
Well, neither is Elton John, but I brought him up.
Well,
in many ways,
Elton John. Yeah, imagine if he was metal. You know, I mean, there's certain artists that they're just amazing, and you can't.
Yeah, of course.
Huh?
Let's put it this way: they're arena quality guys in the metal genre. I submit to you, show me a better frontman interacting with the audience than John Bon Jovi. Show me someone who has the audience in their hands the way that Bon Jovi does in the metal scene.
David Lee Roth.
Dave in his prime, I'll give you. Even now,
Even now, yeah, Dave can
even
still,
now,
Dave
David
can
Lee
still
Roth.
bring it on.
I mean, I run that Van Halen group. You wouldn't believe the fights that go on all day long in there about David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth is the greatest frontman in the history of rock and roll.
Sammy sucks, man. Sammy sucks.
David Lee Roth is the greatest frontman in the history of the rock and roll, maybe second only to Mick Jagger. We're not talking about singers.
Mick's not metal.
We're talking about frontmen. You
Yeah,
know,
not singing, not his vocals,
No,
just him, just on stage controlling the audience.
yeah, Dave can play a crowd, can feel a crowd like nobody before or since.
Yeah,
I mean, he
guy.
has fans, man. I mean, I tell you, when you run, I run a Van Halen group on Facebook. It's called 78 to 84, and the people in there, they're loyal, very loyal to Dave. You know,
a couple people in the chat saying D. Snyder also terrific with the crowd. D's good with the crowd. I don't put him in the David Lee Roth or John Bon Jovi category. He's not an arena player. He's not stadium player. Van Halen can fill a stadium. Bon Jovi can fill a stadium.
Right.
Twisted Sister is great, and I personally love D, but they're not a stadium. They're not a stadium act.
Good argument to be made for Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson is a fantastic frontman. Rob Halford's still a good frontman, not quite in the level of Roth, but Dickinson is up there. Dickinson is one of those guys that knows how to play a crowd and work a crowd, and because that's a theater background. He has a theater performance background that really works for him.
I don't see him with a lot of theatrics, though. I don't see him with a lot of audience interaction. Great frontman and great in an arena setting, for sure. Stadium setting, sure.
I think a lot, and that's an interesting thing. Somebody brought up Robert Plant. Robert Plant is a very overrated frontman. He's a fantastic singer. He's a fantastic icon on stage for the band, but Robert Plant doesn't really interact with the crowd.
No, I mean Zeppelin gets a good rap because they are, along with Pink Floyd, the classic rock genre. You want to add in Black Sabbath, which is more toward the metal thing, but I mean it's Floyd and Zeppelin. If you're looking at that 70s classic rock, blah blah blah.
Aerosmith,
you know? But there,
Steven Tyler's great, but he doesn't really work the crowd as much as Roth.
But he's a frontman. Tyler's a good frontman. Again, we're talking crowd interaction, crowd control. Paul Stanley, I will say,
Paul Stanley's a great frontman. Yes.
I think he's that level with the crowd also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Roth, Roth in between songs.
Johnny, David Lee Roth is a good frontman, of course, but he doesn't put on the type of show that we put on with Kith. Gene, tell him I'm a great frontman.
It's important for you to understand that Kiss is out here for the fans and a nominal fee. Here's the thing. David Lee Roth, between songs, David Lee Roth can do this.
And the crowd goes wild.
David Lee Roth
and not say a word for 4 minutes.
Roth in between songs is the greatest. That's his magic.
Yeah.
Roth in between songs.
Yeah,
just pointing and smiling.
Yep. He can take a stadium full of people and make it seem like it's the three of us. He has that ability to make you believe that, how many times have you heard somebody say, man, they went to a Van Halen show back in the day. Man, did you hear, man, Dave said we were louder than fucking Phoenix, man. And he doesn't just say that everywhere. Yes, he does. Everywhere. Literally.
I have the bootlegs to prove it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody's, oh man, we were fucking louder than Tucson, man. I was at the Tucson show, man, and Dave didn't say that in Tucson. Yes.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He's looking at the set list, and between songs it says, say crowd is louder than previous.
Yes.
It's like there on the set list floor.
Hand 36 solo. Was Kiss the first boy band? No, the Beatles were the first boy band.
Yeah, basically.
The Beatles were the first. The Beatles were the first everything. The Beatles were the first everything. Anything that's been done in music was perfected by the Beatles. Some people tried to do it before the Beatles, but the Beatles did it and get credit for all of it.
Mm-hmm. And everybody was influenced by the Beatles, whether they even know it or not.
In one way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
the same thing about James Brown too, and Little Richard.
Well, James Brown obviously comes from Screamin' Jay Hawkins. When you talk about frontmen, I mean, when you look at what's going on with Justin Timberlake and Bruno Mars and all of those guys that are out there doing their thing now, and even the female, even the female singers and dancers like the J-Los and the Shakiras and the Janelle Monáes, they all come from James Brown. James Brown took it to another level.
James Brown's moves.
He took it to another. Even Dave does the soft shoe like James Brown. I mean, James Brown was the quintessential frontman with the guys coming out with the cape and all that shit. I mean, if you don't appreciate James, Soul Brother #1, you really should go and watch what he did. And motherfucker could sing. This is a man's world. What a voice. What a voice. James Brown was insanely good. And you're talking about great frontmen. James Brown begat Sly Stone, begat Prince, begat Bruno Mars. There's that whole, but James Brown was electric on stage because he couldn't play an instrument. So he had the microphone and the dance moves and all of the shit that we see the Mick Jaggers and the Steven Tylers and the David Lee Roths.
He had that attitude that
insane. Yeah. Insane.
So good. FU brings up Freddie Mercury and Pooh Ninja brings up Jackal. Jackal? Really? Now, I'm not saying they're a good band, but we're talking stadium level. I mean, I could say Freddie Mercury could fill a stadium. You betcha. But
in Europe, they could. Queen was, again, this is another thing. I talk about this with people all the time. Queen is bigger in legend than they were in reality. In the United States, Queen had a hard time filling hockey arenas. True story.
Yeah, very true.
True story.
In Europe,
way bigger. Way bigger in Europe, way bigger outside of the United States than they ever were in the United States. Only in the past 5 years has Queen been getting its due in the United States. It's almost like, remember like 20 years ago when all of a sudden everybody was going nuts about The Who?
The movie has a lot to do with the Queen aspect.
Sure, but do you remember 20 years ago, all of a sudden The Who, everybody was suddenly like, oh my God, The Who is a great band. Same situation, although The Who was more successful in the United States than Queen was. Queen is a great example of the legend exceeds the reality. Now people understand how great Queen was and how groundbreaking they were and how important they were. But at the time, they were a hockey arena band, hockey stadium band. They weren't a band that could fill football stadiums like John Bon Jovi can. Not in their prime.
Bon Jovi
was in Europe.
Bon Jovi is one of those that just worldwide fills stadiums. Worldwide. No matter where you go, he will fill a stadium. A lot of bands find way more success in Europe than in America. And Japan.
Yes.
In Japan, they are all about music, especially metal. They did not find the grunge scene interesting in the 90s. They were still into the metal scene. Also, the Netherlands, very big metal scene over there. They didn't enjoy grunge. They didn't get Seattle. You know, they just didn't get it. It's like, why are you all depressed? We're having fun. Why are you all depressed? What's the sweater? What? They didn't get the grunge scene. So metal continued in parts of Europe and especially in Japan. And, this is where those smaller bands can now fill up stadiums there. To this day.
Hugh Caldwell brings up Roger Daltrey. Great frontman. Fantastic frontman. But The Who was such a ball of energy that the whole band was a frontman. Like The Who was everybody in the band, with the exception of Entwistle, and even him with his playing was so out front. The Who was really had 4 frontmen, to be honest with you. The Who was fantastic and a super underrated band. And we mentioned Jesse James Dupree. Jesse James Dupree from Jackal is a great frontman for a band that does very well. And I'm, full disclosure, really good friends with the guys in Jackal. I love that band. I think they're great, but they've never been a big band. They've just never been
not a special.
No, they've just never been a big band. They've been a consistent band. They've done very, very well given when they came. Remember, they came too late. Another band that came too late. But all Jesse James Dupree is doing is Jim Dandy from Black Oak, Arkansas. I mean, he's doing what David Lee Roth did.
Roth is doing.
Yeah, they all stole Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy couldn't sing worth the shit, but what a front man.
Absolutely.
I mean, a great frontman, a great character. So what do? You see somebody, you take the influence, you steal what you like from it, you take it to a bigger stage, and you get credit for it.
You make it your own.
Gene.
You know, Kiss didn't steal anything from anybody. We were always the originals, and that's just a fact.
You have to understand that there are only 2 bands in the history of music where all 4 members were instantly identifiable visually: the Beatles and Kiss. That's by design.
And the Beatles copied a lot from us. You know, they saw our rehearsals. I mean, it's not common knowledge, but I'm just saying.
Yes, Pooh Ninja, the Who are underrated. The problem with the Who was they had the misfortune of coming up at the exact same time when Led Zeppelin were in their prime, when the Rolling Stones were in their prime, when Black Sabbath had come out, when Aerosmith were in their prime. The problem with the Who was very similar to the problem with the Kinks. Too English. The Who were criminally underrated. They really are. Fantastic band, but they're still better than they get credit for. They're legends, but they're better than that. They're even better than they've been given credit for.
Wasn't the earlier stuff better though? Wasn't that the best stuff?
Tommy was a great album.
I mean, look, the Who, they were one of the first bands. They were one of the first punk bands. The Who and the Kinks invented punk rock. The Who and the Kinks in England and the MC5 and the Stooges in the United States invented punk rock. I Can't Explain is a punk rock song. And Who's Next is arguably one of the 5 greatest rock albums of all time. It can be argued. Who's Next is a flawless album. The Who has done amazing shit. Now, inconsistent shit. The Who Sellout is tough to listen to for some people. Quadrophenia is tough to listen to. The great stuff on Quadrophenia.
Rain on Me is good.
Yeah, the great stuff on Quadrophenia it's almost like the Illusion records from Guns N' Roses. The great stuff is great. The bad stuff is really a throwaway. Inconsistency has been an issue for the Who. When they're great, they're fucking phenomenal, and there aren't a lot of bands that can touch them. But they've had a lot of misses too, and because of that, they're underrated.
But also understand the Who is like one of those 70s bands, pre-metal that's like, Blue Oyster Cult and Deep Purple, and they're in that vein of music. And you say they're too British, okay, but then when metal came along, the British metal invasion of like Maiden and Priest, we didn't give a fuck that you're British. You're fucking terrific. Bring that invasion on, motherfuckers.
But that was the problem. Was the Who came out at a time when we were saturated with great metal bands and great rock bands.
But they wouldn't have fit into that 80s style.
No. By the time the 80s rolled around, I mean, Who Are You was 1978, 79. Yeah. So by then, their next record, It's Hard, with Athena and Eminence Front and I've Known No War, those records are not rock records at all. They made the stylistic shift to be a little bit more FM rock friendly, a little more pop friendly, a little bit more. That was Townsend's moment. But Won't Get Fooled Again is metal as fuck. Long Live Rock is metal as fuck. Those are great songs. That scream and Won't Get Fooled Again is one of the greatest screams in the history of recorded music. That band, when they wanted to, when they were in that arena rock world at that period of time when he was writing that stuff, when Townsend was writing that stuff, was as good as anything Zeppelin or Sabbath ever wrote. The thing was, the Who was way more than that. The Who went from the cool, boppy pop stuff of the Beatles all the way to Black Sabbath. They were that wide. The problem was they were that wide, a lot like Queen, where there was just so much shit, and they did so much stuff. In between a lot of that stuff, there were a lot of misfires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's shift. Well, go ahead, Johnny. You want to say something?
Well, yeah. The Who, they were definitely, that stuff can be considered metal. It's just people don't look at it like that because they just look like regular. They just look like regular dudes.
I don't consider the Who metal. I consider them rock. They're classic.
But Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, that's a metal song. That's a metal song.
Yeah,
it really is.
One or two metal songs doesn't make a metal group. I mean, you could say Sabbath. But
you can. It has all the ingredients of classic metal.
Well, listen, I could bake a chocolate cake, but if I put a turd in one piece, still doesn't make it. I want to bring up Fruitcake Tony brings up a great question, and this is a question that's kind of relevant actually. With Mick Mars' clock ticking with his health, hopefully not, but let's face reality. He's an older guy with health issues. If the big Mötley Crüe tour happens in 21 or 22 and Mick can't make it for health reasons, who would be a good substitute? That's a great question.
Bruce Kulick.
There you go.
He can play all that stuff.
Bruce is versatile. Bruce is very versatile.
He could play all that stuff. A good guitar player for Mötley Crüe might be Jizzy Pearl.
I don't like his name.
Tracy Guns could do it.
There we go. That's my pick right there. Tracy Guns.
There you go.
Tracy Guns could do it easily.
Tracy Guns.
Could easily do it.
Tracy's a great, very similar player to Mick. I think he's actually a little more technical, actually. But he's got that grunge-ish attitude down in his playing. And I think, like I said, I think he's actually a little bit better player than Mick. Nothing against Mick. Mick's terrific. I just think Mick is a little better.
Mötley Crüe is a great example of a band who are not very good musicians.
Well, not technically proficient.
No, that's my point. They're not great musicians, but the songs are so good and the chemistry is so good that it worked. There's a great, like you could take, look, as great as the musicians in Racer X are, they couldn't write a hit. As great as the musicians are, you can take, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, Nuno Bettencourt, Billy Sheehan, and Neil Peart and put them in a band, and they may not be able to write a hit.
There needs to be chemistry. There needs to be a gelling of,
And Mötley is those four guys. It's those four guys. Even though Randy Castillo did a good job filling in and Samantha Maloney did a good job filling in, Mötley is those four guys. Those are the guys that have to be Mötley Crüe.
And let's also remember, Tracy was initially part of Guns N' Roses.
Right.
I mean, early on, he's the Guns of Guns N' Roses. Him and Axl. But it's like, I could see him in either of those bands, actually. But I'm glad he's with LA Guns.
Tracy Guns could do it. I'm trying to think of other guys that might be able to do it.
There's other guys that can do it. Like they could play all the songs. Like you said Bruce, and I love Bruce Kulick on a number of levels. I don't think he would fit in with Crue though. I think he's too good. Reality wise, he's too good.
I don't think he's sloppy enough. I don't think I'm trying to think of somebody that is.
Bruce points that brings up John
Keith
Five.
Nelson.
John Five's not a bad pick.
Keith Nelson could do it from Buck Cherry.
I need to listen to more. I saw them live. I need to listen to more of their songs. To
Keith Nelson, he could fit in that genre. He's the kind of guy that can slap on a Les Paul and bring some filth to it.
Vistalite brings up Jakey Lee. I think Jake would be too good also. And again, not that Tracy's not really good. He's an amazing player. I just think there's a certain attitude.
There's a fit.
Fit. That's it. That Tracy would do, Jake, I don't think would. Jake's amazing, obviously. I mean, you could say Warren DeMartini. I don't think Warren would work with Mötley Crüe. He's a different. Personally, I don't think he would fit. I think Tracy would be the guy. That's my pick.
Yeah, I think Tracy Guns is the right guy. I'm sitting here. I'm looking at like my records, looking for like one of those obscure bands that had a decent guitar player that would fit. Doug Aldrich could do it.
Popcorn the Band with Johnny Beane on guitar.
Yep.
Yeah, Johnny could fill in. Doug Aldrich.
Again, too clean.
Yeah, I don't think Doug would be the guy. I mean, again, you could pick guitarists that could do and outdo the thing. You could say Reb Beach. It would be such a mismatch, You could say so many good guitarists. CeCe DeVille,
no.
He's too party. Eddie Ojeda is a maybe.
Gilby Clarke might work.
I could see Gilby Clarke.
Yep, Gilby could maybe make that work.
I still don't see anything better than Tracy so far.
No, I mean, he's
that I think is a perfect fit. Maybe Snake Sabo. Maybe Snake Sabo.
Maybe Jay Hannon.
The Jay
Steve
Hannon.
Carmichael.
Steve
I gotta,
Carmichael.
You're getting ready to do
Show and tell.
Show and tell. So I got to take the dogs out. This is a perfect time for me to do this.
Okay, so let's see. We are at the 2-hour mark. It is time for guitar show and tell, sponsored by, let's say Vinyl Pickups, who are terrific. Look at that. Thank you, Craig Vinyl.
Have you had that installed yet?
No, I'm still waiting to get a specific guitar, something white, something, I don't know if I want a Strat or like a white Les Paul, something down the line. I'm saving these perfect pickups that Vinyl Pickups made for me, custom wound for me, I should even say. And I'm dying to try them. I'm trying to have them in something cool. I'm thinking like I want a white colored guitar, but there's like only so many things that I'd be like, okay, this would go in it. Maybe like, maybe like a 2-hum Kramer would be cool. Maybe a Les Paul would be cool, but I think I want something white, like really, really bright white colored, not like Randy Rhoads Faded Cream. So I'm holding on to it for like a future project. I'm dying to try them though. And when I do, I'll show whatever guitar it is on the show, obviously. And also, let's see, sponsored by Bang Energy Drink and Swiss Picks. Look at that. Paulie has them now. He loves them. We were talking about that off the air the other day. These things are great. If you haven't tried a Swiss Pick, the grip on these things, tremendous. They feel so good. And of course, Bang Energy Drink. It's always time for Bang Energy Drink at the wrong moments, as you'll see on the show.
Do you drink those like all day?
When I'm about to masturbate and I want to get a real, heavy pump going, I get up my energy, my heart's pounding, I'm sweating. Oh my God, gotta do this for me. No, I drink them. I drink them occasionally. I drink them always on the show, of course, sponsorship. But I do drink them on my own. And just random times when I need a little pick me up. But they taste good. They taste really good. This one, they have like 20 something flavors. This one is Rainbow Unicorn. I still have from the other day. I'm nursing also part of a Banksterberry.
Do you drink them cold?
Yeah, you got to drink them cold. You don't want no energy drink tastes good warm. It's like high octane urine, when they're cold, these are delicious because they have real flavors. I mean, you taste a Red Bull or something like a basic Red Bull or a Monster or something, and it's like that medicine-y, like you just gargled with Listerine on some of them. And some of them, have nice flavors. These flavors are so good. The berry flavors and the cotton candy flavor and the sour heads flavor. And I mean, they're just really, really tasty. That's why I like these, even when they're not on the air. That's why I drink those, because they're really tasty and they don't give you heart palpitations, which certain other brands do. So,
ouch.
Oh, Papa Blue's tempting me with a 1983 Les Paul Custom in pearl white for sale. I really want Arctic White more than pearl, but I
one for sale.
I just want white. Papa Blue has an 83 Les Paul Custom pearl white for sale. Send me photos anyway. Send it to my Facebook. Jonathan,
send me photos too if he doesn't want it.
Yeah, Jonathan Mancuda at Facebook.
And send me the photos too.
I like the New Orleans years. Send them
might be
Blue Rhino as well on.
Yeah, if Mancuda's not interested, I might be interested.
Yeah, this way one of us might be interested. Pooh Ninja says show and yell. Only when I shoot it across the room. Oh. Anyway, so let's get back to the show and tell guitar. Basically, I gave the clue today that it's very bright and it's a brand.
No way. One of your guitars?
You'd never guess, right?
Unbelievable.
And it's a brand I don't own many guitars of. I own only 2 of this brand. I know a lot of the other guys in the showcast have bunches of guitars from this brand. I only own 2, and they're not the ones that the other guys own. And the other clue I gave was it was the other guitar from this brand was one I've had on the show before. So if you remember, a couple of months back, I had a PV Vandenberg with a yellow with a Nagel graphic on the show as the show and tell guitar. And so, Johnny, if you please.
Oh,
That's not it. That's my erection theme song.
Oh no.
Oh, every time I get a soggy erection, I hear that song. It's traumatizing. Yeah, so Johnny, if you please. Oh, look at that thing. There we go.
Tracer? PV Tracer?
PV Tracer.
Yeah.
A very underrated bang for the buck guitar, as I call them. Basically, this is a USA made, and look at the color on this. Unfortunately, this color is almost looking white. It's kind of getting washed out in the video, but it's screaming. What's the color? Periwinkle? Is that the color? No, what's the color?
It's like a neon yellow.
It's a neon yellow, but it's got a little green mixed in. It's one of those Crayola colors that like you looked at, and I'm trying to remember what the
Periwinkle's more of a blue purple.
Okay, give me another weird like yellowish with almost a greenish tint.
Periwinkle.
No, you bastard! It's quick! Somebody break out a Crayola 64 box quickly! Somebody. Anyway, it's a very, very bright neon yellow with almost like a lime tint to it. Chartreuse. Thank you, Ben Tom. Chartreuse. Very similar to a chartreuse. Hard to find. It's hard to really see.
Hard to refinish when you knock it into something.
Yeah, forget about that. You let the chips fall where they may, literally. Yeah. This one basically has a blue and black splatter, which on this color looks really, really great. Renus Pinkel calls it puss yellow. If you see a yellow puss, don't lick it because that's probably a disease. Go for the clean pink ones. Anyway, yeah, chartreuse, Ben Tom says as well. So the thing about PVs is these tracers are USA made guitars. I believe they're handmade too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, handcrafted in the USA. They're cheap as fuck. And they're good feeling guitars. These necks are really nice. You see, I've dirtied the shit out of this one, which I love, Dirty Maple. You know, it's got a little bit of a clear coat on it, just a thin little clear coat. But on the board, it's worn through it a little bit, which is such a great feel. And there's that little feathered headstock. You see, they have that little feathered angle at the top, right at the peak. Goes into like a stair step, which is really cool. You got tuners, no locking nut on this one. Let's see. This is kind of I don't know if this is DiMarzio or DiMarzio knockoff. It's kind of it has the same layout as a Super Distortion, but it doesn't look like a DiMarzio Super Distortion as far as material goes. Like the poles look right, but something about it. It's an interesting distortion. I think it's a knockoff. Then you have a single coil in there. Basic V-Trem kind of bridge made of chrome. Volume tone, 3-way switch, pretty basic controls. Nice fitting body, very, very light. I would guess it's either Alder or maybe Poplar, but probably Alder. The back has the same graphic and whatnot. And again, kind of like a very thin, wide D shape on the neck, which is nice. It's very comfy. It's got a good feel in the upper access. And the thing about these is they're a couple of $100. If you find them, they're a couple of $100. Most of them I've seen are like pink with a splatter design. That seems to be the common color. It wasn't a pink I liked. I bought one. I didn't bond with it, so I sold it, which is what I do when I bond with a guitar. This one I liked a lot more, and the color was really cool. But again, guys, if you're looking for a USA made guitar, I usually point you toward a BC Rich ST3. I think that's a good bang for the buck in the hundreds of dollars. A Kramer Pacer, like a late 80s Kramer Pacer, fantastic guitars in the hundreds of dollars. This, even cheaper. You'll find these probably around like, for a handmade USA guitar, usually like in the $500 range. I mean, we're talking like really, really bang for the buck.
Is this like the one that you saw or had?
Yeah, that's exactly what I had.
You didn't like it?
No, I just couldn't bond with it. It didn't feel. This one felt a lot better. And make no mistake, they're not like mega quality guitars, but they are a USA made guitar in the hundreds of dollars. And when people always come up to me and say, "Hey man, Kuda, what do you recommend?" I have, 500, 800. I want to stay under 1,000. What's a good bang for the buck guitar? These are so cheap.
But yeah, I think they were like budget guitars, like beginning, like starter guitars.
They really are.
Everything. Peavey never really made a high quality guitar until the Wolfgang. They were always considered, the T60s, and they were always considered entry level to medium guitars. They were never premium guitars until the Wolfgang.
Right, and you know what? I actually do have a third Peavey. I forgot about it. I have a pink Peavey Mantis. I mean, pink like burn your retinas out pink, of course. I had that on the show once, like a year ago. But these are so cheap. I mean, even like you could probably even get one maybe for $400. I mean, they're really, really budget guitars, and for the quality you're getting for a couple of $100 rather than a shit import that you'd find in like a pawn shop, PAWN. These are just so good. And we're talking a 24 fret neck on a bolt-on also, which is not very common. So think about that as well. Maple neck, dirty maple neck, nice feel, good playability. I mean, bang for the buck, boys and girls. It doesn't get cheaper than this. And again, I wish it would come in. It's a darker yellow. That's probably a better angle to see the color. If you note the thumbnail, Johnny.
Yeah, it's almost a green yellow.
It's like a chartreuse. It is that neon yellow with a little green tint on it. Let's see. FU Tone just pointed out there's a black one on Reverb for $275. This one
US made guitar. Even if you want to take guitar. Even if you want to take the pickups out and upgrade that guitar, it's worth the investment.
Absolutely. And Sammy Reynolds brings up the several with Kahlers on them for under 500 on Reverb. This is what I'm talking about. If you want an entry level, or if you're a beginner, or even if you just want like a bang around guitar to take on a trip, you don't want to bring your Les Paul, you don't want to bring your $3,000 Rhodes. This is a great bang around guitar. And like Paul said, you could mod it.
Kind of guitar you want to take. That's the kind of guitar you take, to a No Bozos jam, or, you take it out to a buddy's having some people over, you're having a party and you're just jamming out, and you're not worried about, you want a decent guitar that's going to stay in tune. It's going to sound okay when you plug it in and stuff like that. But if it gets fucked up at the party, no huge loss. Now, don't get me wrong.
It happens.
Any guitar getting fucked up at a party, you're going to cry a little bit. We all do. But it's one thing to have a Rhodes, or it's another thing to have, a gem or something. I'm using a Japanese guitar for an example, but I'm talking about high quality guitar. Ernie Ball Music Man. You're not going to take the Music Man out to Joe's Jam Night. Your
$6,000 guitar
isn't guitar that's going to stay in tune. It's going to be reliable.
I used to.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, but I wouldn't take it. I only take it to places now where I know, what's going on.
Yeah, because now you've bonded with it, you've broken it in. Now it's really like, now it's really like your guitar. You've bonded with it, so it's like, what do you do? But I'm just reading in the chat. There's a FU Tone says there's a pink one for $200. Thrash Metal says there's a $400 one on eBay. This is what I'm talking about.
Delayed.
What, Paul?
Paul.
Oh no,
Paul.
He's in suspended animation. Oh boy. It's bang for your buck, you putz.
His,
with the cheap equipment in here, you could sell the whole studio setup and buy one of these PV tracers.
PV tracer. Yeah. Yeah, I think those were, I mean, they still are budget guitar, but they're great though, like you're saying. I mean,
they're cool guitars for the buck. And again, you can mod them, you can upgrade them. They have a good feel to them, and they're a USA made guitar.
Yeah.
How do you go wrong with that?
I have a question for you, John Mancuda. Maybe you can help in this situation.
Paul.
We talked about this on Saturday night.
Relationship advice. Yes. Know all about it. What's the problem? Problem with your erection? I've been there myself. Tell me about it. What do you got?
I want you to find the etymology of this guitar because we couldn't figure it out.
What?
The lineage of this guitar. We couldn't figure it out. I bought this. See the little Jack Daniels sticker inside?
Okay.
There's no serial number on this guitar.
Looks like a promotional guitar.
It is a promotional guitar. PV made these for Jack Daniels.
Oh, cool.
But this is not one of the models that you can research on Facebook or on Google or on anywhere. It's not an electric acoustic. It's just simply an acoustic. There's no model number in it. There's no serial number on it.
See, here you have me at a disadvantage because I don't even own an acoustic guitar. The only acoustics I ever liked were the round back, the plastic shell turtle ovations.
Yeah,
and even those, like I would maybe one day buy one, but I don't even own an acoustic. Now I have over 300 electrics, not one acoustic. It's just not my jam. It's just not my jam. It's not what I enjoy playing. Good night, Tom. It's not what I enjoy playing.
I have a couple of acoustics. One is a Gibson Nouveau, of which they only made like 130 of them in the world. Gibson made these Nouveau. It's based on Art Nouveau, the jazz guitar player. And they switched them. They made them for 1 year in 1986. Then they switched them to the Epiphone line because basically the guitar itself was cut in Japan and assembled in the United States. And it was supposed to be a budget guitar, but it's a Gibson, but it's a weird guitar. And they, like I said, it's a rarity. And then I've got an Epiphone by Gibson, but this thing here, our buddy Dane,
it's a cool looking neck and headstock. Yeah,
no, it's a cool guitar and it plays well. And the inlays, you really can't see it, but in the inlays on the 12th fret, there is almost like an eagle or some sort of a bird. You can barely see on the inlay.
Is it a swallow? Because if so, I want to date. If so, I want to date her.
But my friend,
wish I had friends.
My friend Dane had this sitting in his shop for $120. So I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'll buy it.
Dane Zimmerman has some great guitars for the money.
Yeah. But it's not. But here's the thing, and Sonia brings up that Trogley's Guitar Channel did a video of the Jack Daniels acoustic. Yes, this isn't one of those. That's the problem. Is there are 2 or 3 different models of that guitar. They were all electric acoustics with piezo pickups underneath the bridge, so you could plug them in and play them, amplified and stuff. This isn't one of those. Doesn't have a model number. Doesn't have a serial number. I can't figure out where it comes from or what it is. But I know it's a PV Jack Daniels promo guitar, and I figured for $120, it'll be something. I like guitars that nobody else plays. I like, whereas John likes neon 80s shredder guitars, I like to have something that most people don't play. And that's just a cool little acoustic guitar. And again, for $120, it's cool. Even if I hang it on the wall, it's a cool little, it's a good wall piece. But you can play it. I'll bring it. I don't have a problem bringing it to a party. If it gets fucked up, it gets fucked up. $100, you can't buy a piece of shit,
No, look, if you want to pull a Chris Holmes and just tomahawk this at the sound mixer guy across the room, it's a couple of $100. So, bang for the buck, or,
Yeah, I gave my love a cherry.
And I popped it, but only once. Robot Master Switch brings up a really good question, and I've answered this on the show before. Over 300 electrics, how do you store and display them? First of all, they're in multiple locations. I have my house, relative's house, and my best friend's house. So they're in 3 different locations because that is a lot of space. They're all in cases except for what I'm actively playing with that week, which is usually between 3 and 6 guitars out at a time. That's it. Because I live in Hollywood. We have earthquakes here. I don't go for the wall hangers for multiple reasons. I don't want the boards to dry out. I don't want the strings to deaden. I don't want dust to get in the electronics. I like them set up, fresh, clean, oiled, and in the case. And then when I pull them out, they're ready to go. If I have an earthquake here, God forbid, and things are on the wall, they're going to be breaking all over the place. And again, it's a lot to maintain, and you do have to maintain these guitars. So to have to oil more boards, change more strings, dude, that shit adds up. So yeah, I keep them in the cases for safety and for storage and for maintenance. And I keep, I have a few stands in my living room, and I keep a couple on the couch. I have a big couch. A lot of you guys have seen photos of it. And I just basically keep them where I can access them, and I rotate them. Like every week I'll say, all right, I'm done with these 3. Let me pull out, what do I feel like playing this week? I pull out a couple more and then put those back. So that's it. It's a big rotation, multiple locations in the cases for their own maintenance and safety.
I do the same thing. I have a stand behind me where that Epiphone is sitting. I just got that PV there, so it's sitting there. Mostly the acoustics are out. Except for the Gibson. The Nouveau is in a hard case, in a room, climate controlled. I think we talked about this before. About 2 years ago, my air conditioning died. So the air conditioning in this house
was in Arizona for the
So
those of you that watch the show, right?
It gets dry here. So when the air conditioning died, I was out without air conditioning for almost 12 days. So I literally took every guitar that I own and brought them into the master bedroom, closed all the doors, and brought a floor air conditioning unit with a humidifier into the room to make sure that that room stayed humidified and moist enough so that everything doesn't dry out. My guitars sit in their cases with the exception of the ones that I have out at the time. I've got these 2 out in here. I've got 2 out in my amplifier room, the room where I keep all my amplifiers. We did a tour of the house a couple of weeks ago.
That was cool, man.
And Johnny knows I've got the amplifier room, I've got the storage room, I've got, all this stuff there. And he saw everything is in cases. I keep everything in cases. They're all labeled, so I know what everything is. They all have a blue piece of tape on them with a black Sharpie. It says exactly what the guitar is.
The same thing
in the case. And it's funny though, all the gems are in their section, all the Les Pauls are in their section. So I know immediately looking what I want to grab without having to go through everything like you're thumbing through a CD rack.
I have different things in different buildings. It's like I'll have, a Les Paul in one building. I'll have 3 in this building.
Right.
I mean, I know where they are. They're not in order, but it's one of those things like muscle memory. I know, okay, where's that particular BC Rich Mockingbird? Okay, it's in that room, or I have it at his house, or I have it at their house. It's like I know what building and what area of that room in those buildings they are.
I don't hang guitars. That Jack Daniels guitar might get hung if I decide I don't want to play it and I just want to use it as a room. It sounds good, so I'm going to play it. But if it shits the bed or I get a crack or it starts to die, then it becomes a wall hanger. But I have...
Hold on. Lenny Lou and Mary want to know, are you well hung, Paul?
Yes. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
I don't hang guitars on the wall for a couple of different reasons. Not the least of which is I don't want to see the finish get fucked up by the rubber on the wall hanger. It does tend to fuck up the nitrocellulose.
Oh, that rubber. Okay.
Yeah, it tends to fuck up the nitrocellulose on the neck of a guitar where the headstock comes out. You end up with acidic wear for whatever it is, nitrocellulose and rubber or foam that these guitar hangers have. They don't work well. They don't react well with each other. Eventually, you end up with 2 little spots on your headstock. So I don't hang guitars. Plus, again, I rent this house, so this isn't my house. You'd have to find studs to put those guitar hangers in, because if you hang a guitar in drywall and you put a 10-pound Les Paul on the wall, it pulls out. you end up with fucking a broken neck and a hole in the wall and all the shit that comes with it. So,
Well,
guitars,
Michael Smith and John Biel are both studs. Do you want them helping you hang those?
I would,
hang those
hello,
hello.
hello.
It's time to hang and see them hung.
I would,
Hey, Steve.
Steve Anderson, everybody.
Hey.
I just don't hang guitars. They stay in their cases unless they're ready to be played. Then they go back in their cases. Occasionally they go on the stand for a day or two, but then back in the case.
On real quick, there's over 100 people in the live chat. Take a second, please leave a thumbs up, hit subscribe.
And thank you for hanging out with us.
And thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. So,
Yes. Thank you
yeah,
so
I mean,
much.
you know, the thing a lot of people forget is, and you'll probably know this, if you've ever gotten a guitar from someone on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast or vice versa, the humidity and the temperature and the altitude, all those things factor in. What I may have perfectly dialed in and set up here in Los Angeles, if I send it to my place in New York, it's gonna need another setup. It's a totally different humidity and temperature, and it's just gonna bow the neck. It's gonna change it. So you have to realize that wherever you keep your guitars, climate control is a very, very important thing.
And don't get it set up the minute you bring it in. Like I bought.
Let it cool down. Let it acclimate.
I bought a guitar. I bought a couple of Ernie Ball Music Mans from either upstate New York or Pennsylvania, and they went from Pennsylvania. And this was in the wintertime. They went from Pennsylvania across the United States to Arizona. And you got to let them sit for 2 or 3 days, not 12 hours, 2 or 3 days. Just let them sit, let them acclimate. 2 or 3 days of temperature changes, morning at night, humidity, let them acclimate to everything like that. You start screwing with that stuff, you end up with fret sprout, you end up with split fingerboards, you end up with cracks in the neck pocket. Don't adjust anything, don't do anything, just let it sit. You don't need it, just let it sit for 72 hours. Just to be safe. Better safe than sorry, especially if you're spending a lot of money on a guitar. If you're spending $275 on a PV Tracer, and
let it ride,
and it shits the bed, you know, you're out $275. If you spend $3,000 on an Ernie Ball Music Man or a Les Paul Custom or whatever it is that you're buying, and that thing, and you end up with a warped neck or something like that you got to take out and have repaired, you know, just because you didn't let it sit. Just let it sit for a couple of days. It is wood, it is wire, like everything else. It's going to swell and it's going to contract.
My wood is swelling now. No, you know, but you bring up a really good point. You bring up a really good point. Like if you get a guitar from a warmer climate and you get it delivered in the winter, you don't even open that box for a day.
Nope.
You let that box get to room temperature, and then after a day, you can open it. But you have to let it, think of it like defrosting a steak. You don't take a steak out of the freezer and throw it right in the frying pan. It's going to come out like shit. You leave it out, you let it get to room temperature, and then you cook the steak. Same thing with a guitar. If you get it from a drastically different climate than yours, so if it's, you know, fall in New York and you're getting something from Orlando, Florida, where it's still hot and very, very humid, you do not open that box. You wait till that box is 24 hours to get to room temperature, and then you open it and you should be good. And expect to, you know, have to set it up. That's just the way the wood works.
Yeah, I let everything sit for a couple of days just because morning, you know, you get the temperature fluctuations in your house. Like, for example, I keep my house at 77 degrees all the time, but you get different humidity levels.
You're like my mother with the 77 degrees.
77.
That's hot as fuck. I keep it 73. That's hot as fuck for me.
When it's 113 degrees.
Yeah, I get it.
77 is comfortable.
I'm not comfortable sleeping in 77-degree temperature. That's my mother. It's like I turn the thermostat to a delightful 73 degrees, and my mother's like, "Oh, it's like winter in here. Make it 82." I'm like, "Mom, you know."
It is currently, let's see, at 7:39 p.m. It is currently 91 degrees where I am, and it says unhealthy air quality for sensitive groups.
I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't mean to call you that.
It's unhealthy for me.
Who said you should have the thermostat so high? Don't berate him.
Why would you give me such a hard time over my temperature?
Jesus Christ. Let's take the
Unhealthy.
temperature rectally and just call it a day.
Rectum, hardly even know him.
Yeah. I'll put the feathered guitar headstop up your rectum and see how your temperature rises.
Well, it's ribbed for my pleasure.
Speaking of warped wood, let's get to some other music news. We got a bunch of stuff to cover in a half hour.
I have to pee, so I'm gonna turn.
You go for it. You go for it. Let's see. Let's just bang out a couple of quick things. For those that don't know, John Petrucci came out with a new album. It's on digital right now, called Terminal Velocity. John Petrucci from Dream Theater re-teaming up with Mike Portnoy on drums, and that's kind of a cool reunion to bring that back. And I listened to the title song of it today, and it's great. It's one of those instrumentals. You know, I personally prefer a song with lyrics, but there are some guys, and Petrucci is one of them, that you could just really, really enjoy just an instrumental. Jason Becker and Marty Friedman with Cacophony were another one. They were harder and faster, of course, so you can't sing to that. Petrucci, a little slower, more melodic, but again, like a Satriani kind of thing. Good sound from the one track I heard so far. And again, nice to see him back with Mike Portnoy. You know, so that's.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this leads to the inevitable: will Mike Portnoy rejoin Dream Theater? The answer is no. That's not going to happen. Maybe someday, if they do like a final tour, that type of deal, he might do a show and stuff with him. But Mike Mangini is the drummer for Dream Theater, and that's the way it's going to be from this point forward. Mike Portnoy's in 19 bands, so he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to go do Dream Theater right now, and I think he's in a different place right now. And I think going backward like that, it just doesn't work out.
And let's see.
Hey, Tessie.
Moving on, since we're Tessie, Switch.
What's up, Tessie?
All right, brother.
He said hi to your
Says
chair.
hello as well. Yeah, well, my chair is a big star right now in the show.
Let's see. Yeah, your chair has made a lot of appearances today.
I could shut the camera off, but what's the point?
Renus Pinkle says John Petrucci's rig controls how hot the sun gets. There you go, man. Yeah, no lie there. No lie there. Let's see. Moving on, we'll bang through a couple of stories. Ozzy talking about Black Sabbath. The question has been floated around back and forth between him and Tony Iommi. Will there be one last gig for Sabbath with Ozzy? The definitive answer has been given, and unfortunately, it is no. Tony's a little disheartened right now with the entire music scene and says, we're not going to get live gigs till 21, maybe 22. Even then, will it be the same? He's just kind of disheartened. So he's basically pointed out to Ozzy, no last show for us as a group like that. Not with us, at least.
There's a couple of different issues, and not the least of which is Tony can't really tour. He can't travel, over long periods of time, because although his cancer is in remission, he still has a compromised immune system, and he gets very, very tired. And they're old as fuck. Ozzy has Parkinson's, obviously, for people that may or may not have been aware. So it's not easy for him to go around and do his thing.
And other body aches. Ozzy's been put through the ringer. He's broken his neck. He's broken. He's a mess. I mean, I love him.
These guys don't need to play anymore. The only thing that Ozzy says he regrets was not doing a final show with Bill Ward, and I get that.
Yeah. But again, the time is
trashing something.
Nice. Yeah. There's that chair again.
Yeah, there goes the chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul's chair.
Fucking dog. What did you just break?
Nothing you'll find.
Paul's chair, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul's chair.
Thank you.
Oh, no, wait. This would be the sound. Paul's chair.
Oh, no. That's Paul's other seat. Let's see. Speaking of Ozzy Osbourne, there is a brand new pop figure, Funko Pop figure, which we talk about sometimes on the show because they're doing a lot of rock stars lately, the Funko Pop figures. And this one is Ozzy Osbourne from the Ordinary Man video. Johnny, bring up a photo of that because it's pretty cool. And it's an exclusive at Hot Topic. But for those of you that follow the Funko Pop world, you might also be able to get it at where I always recommend, which is Rocky Mountain Collectibles in Denver, Colorado. But there he is. This is Ozzy Osbourne from the Ordinary Man video. I like the derby and bat motif. So, so pick one. Either there you go. So again, exclusive at Hot Topic, but I have a feeling Rocky Mountain Collectibles will probably have it too because they just have everything. And if you're looking for some of the other rock star pops, they pretty much have everything. I mean, they're like the largest pop dealer in the nation. So that's the Ozzy story. Let's see, Geddy Lee. We talked about that. Let's talk about Ace Frehley's new record in the works, and some of it's been released already. This is. Well, there's two things with Ace. He made a comment. He may revisit and record some early demo songs, same way he did some on Spaceman, which was his last record. You know, the thing about Ace, he has such an abundance of songs that just never made a Kiss album. They never made an Ace solo album. They never made a Frehley's Comet album. You know, he just has a lot of those. And some of them, like he did on the Spaceman album, he'll rework, he'll replay, he'll re-record, and he'll turn it into something that he considers acceptable. Now, that's what he's got in the back of his mind. What he's doing right now is Origins Part 2, Origins Volume 2, released on September 18th. This is the sequel to his covers album, basically songs that influenced him. So he's got a lot of guests on there. He's got Lita Ford, Robin Zander from Cheap Trick, Bruce Kulick, John Five, and a whole bunch of other guys and girls on there. But the thing about it is he's already released at least the audio to his cover of the Beatles' I'm Down. He's got other tracks included that'll be on the album: Deep Purple Space Truckin', Led Zeppelin's Good Times, Bad Times, the Rolling Stones' Jumpin' Jack Flash, Jimi Hendrix' Manic Depression. All these songs were songs that influenced him growing into the guitar player he is today. So he loves doing his versions of those covers with a lot of guests. And that Origins Volume 2 will be available September 18th.
The great thing about Ace Frehley is he can't sing and he's not a great player, but he has his own style and he makes everything that he does his own. And it's so cool. He is unique and singular in who he is. And I love him. He's the guy that made me want to play guitar when I was a kid. So he's
an influence on a lot of people.
He's not, but the thing about it is everything he plays is incorrect. Like he plays incorrect but it works for him because he's completely self-taught. He's a great example of a guy that doesn't know what he's doing and it works. And it's so cool that he does that. He gives guys like me hope that someday I'll be able to play guitar.
Well, we all grew up wrong. We all grew up with him. We all grew up with him as an influence. Now
he does everything wrong, and it's so cool.
But it's cool. That's it.
I didn't. Right. He's not. He's from really before my generation. But
but have you ever watched him play, Johnny?
Well, Kiss is really for every generation, actually, Johnny Bean.
You should just know that. Realize about Ace is that he's a very, very good player. Did a right man for the job.
But the problem is he turned to drugs and alcohol a lot, and that wasn't good for what we do in Kiss.
He's his own worst enemy.
He really is.
But if you've ever watched him play, everything he does is wrong, and you go, "How does he make that work?"
He's a show.
He's a guy that fails upward, and again, huge fucking fan. Love Ace Frehley.
Both of us.
But when you watch him play, you look at what your guitar teacher taught you. If you ever took guitar lessons, and you go, "That's not how you do it." and Ace is like, "I don't give a shit. It works. Like everything he does is wrong, it's almost like if you want to be a good guitar player, you can't play like Ace Frehley and vice versa. Like if you're a schooled guitar player and you watch Ace Frehley play, you go, well, that doesn't make no sense. It works for him.
It's Ace. It's Ace.
Yeah, it's so
like
cool.
you said earlier, he's unique. And the thing about Ace is, Kiss as a band was very unique in 1,000 different ways. I mean, they, to this day, they are the consummate showman band, the best live concert you'll ever see. And, again, as Ace himself, rather than Tommy Thayer, he just has a particular sound that's unique to him. It's his tone. It's very basic stuff. I mean,
it's
effects. Not technical.
He doesn't use effects, man. He just
plugs right in.
Plugs into. I think most of the time these days he's using just a simple JCM 800 or 900, and everything is dimed. He just fucking pins everything to the 10 and just plays Les Paul into amplifier, occasionally some delay, but not a lot. And that's it. He's a lot like Angus in that way, that he just plugs in and does his thing. Les Paul, Marshall, turn everything up and let's see what happens. And you watch him, it's all bar chords and box patterns and incorrectly played. He doesn't play chords the way they're supposed to be played. He plays them the way he thinks they should be played. And it works. Fun. I love it. I love that he is as good as he is for as bad as he is. He may be the worst great guitar player you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was influential to a whole generation.
Yeah. He was awful and
how many of us got a Les Paul because of him?
I do.
I
have all of my Les Pauls. I mean, Ace Frehley was the guy. I literally I showed you the first guitar I ever got was that piece of shit Japanese Allegretto Les Paul copy. I could have had a Gibson SG, but I wanted the guitar Ace Frehley played. I want that. Ace Frehley sold more Les Pauls in the 70s than Jimmy Page did.
I'm not even big on Les Pauls. I have a few, but the reason I have a few is pretty much Ace.
Yeah.
I'm more of a super Strat guy, or some handmade BC Rich stuff or something like that. But I mostly lean toward a Strat body or some variation of it usually. Sure, I like a Rhodes. That's a Randy influence. But the reason I have a Sunburst, a Tobacco Burst, it's pure Ace. And I wanted older ones that are beat the shit because of Ace.
I have both of his signatures. I have the 98 signature with his face on the headstock, and I've got the Budokan signature. I don't have the 59 because it just looks like every other Les Paul. But the Budokan and the signature series are those
is the 59 the lemon?
Yeah,
the lemon.
And it's just
expensive.
It's two pickups. And it's two pickups. It's not a 3 pickup custom. It's just a regular,
I don't like middle pickups anyway.
And it's difficult to play the middle pickup because you want to dig in while you're playing.
My picking style doesn't allow. I have a Tobacco Sunburst just like that.
Yeah, and he has the DiMarzio Super Distortions in it, and he just the way he plays is just so sloppy and shitty, and he's like a cat that lands on his feet every time.
Well, look at him. Look at his hands. Look at the look on his face. You can tell
he's drunk, Johnny.
You can tell. You can tell he's just doing what he does, and it's just him.
It's a groove. There's nobody that plays like Ace Frehley, thank God. But although CC DeVille does a lot from Ace Frehley when you hear some of the box patterns that he plays.
Well, CC plays a lot of basic chords and writes songs from there. But even he's a more technical player than Ace.
Yes, Ace is from a technical standpoint, he's an awful guitar player, and it works. It's so good, and I love it. And I own everything he's ever done. I love everything he's done with Kiss. I would never buy one of those Washburn Ace Frehley guitars. That's the only signature I wouldn't buy.
No, we had one on the show. We had one on the show on display.
I'll buy Origins the minute that it comes out. I'll buy the Origins record. And KXM Rock, he was probably great for a time. No, he was never great. He was never great. He was unique. And his solos. If you go back and listen to all the old Kiss stuff, there's a lot of soloing in those songs. like in between verses and stuff, he puts these little licks and these little weirdnesses in there because he's got Paul Stanley underneath him. Well, Paul Stanley and or Les Dudek or whatever studio guitar player played on the record. But he throws these licks and these tasty little fills and things that most guitar players don't do. And it's uniquely him. And it's so cool that he's able to do that still, given how fucked up he's been his whole life.
But does he know it? That's the question. Does he know it when he wakes up? Did I play? Did I do well? Hey, Joe.
He knows what he's doing now. He's in better shape now than he's ever been physically.
Yeah,
it might be a little too late, but the records he's making are pretty good. He knows he can't sing, so he picks songs that he can sort of talk his way through. It makes sense that he does stuff like Fox on the Run. It makes sense that he does stuff like Do Ya from The Move. It makes it because those are songs that sound like what he would sound like singing.
Yeah. And Cobra Kai Platoon brings up the Kiss dolls. Yeah, I mean, I love the Kiss dolls. I'd love to get another set of those. I had a set once, and then I
had one too.
I had a set. I didn't have a set as a kid, but I had it as an adult. And then someone offered me some money. I said, "Yeah, I could buy these again." I haven't yet, but I will. I know I will.
I had them as a kid, and my mom tossed them because I was too old to play with dolls. All my Star Wars toys, all my Battlestar Galactica toys, my Micronauts.
You know, Paul's mom would have made a great manager for Kiss because we tossed Ace and Peter the same way. There they are. Well, those are Japanese made.
Ace Frehley has a great song on the first Frehley's Comet record called Dolls. That's really creepy.
That first Frehley's Comet record was terrific. Yeah. I mean, you know, Into the Night is my favorite track from it, but
yeah. I mean, his solo record is great. There's some great stuff on it. He wrote some of the great Kiss songs.
I mean, Ace is a legacy player. There's no question.
Yeah.
So that's Ace. Moving on, let's see. A couple more topics real quick. Let's backtrack to a few guys we were talking about earlier. Sebastian Bach working on new LP during quarantine, including with guests Orianthe, John 5, Steve Stevens, and others. By the way, do you notice John 5 and Steve Stevens both are appearing on a lot of guys' studio albums coming up?
John 5 is becoming like Mike Portnoy. He's on everybody's record.
He's like George Lynch as well.
Yeah. He's just showing up everywhere. If you're a fan of John 5, be on the lookout for. You probably won't find it because it was never released. But he had a band project called Loser. I do have it.
Paul has the original master reel-to-reel. He's going to break it off. You'll never find it. But look what I have. Look what I have right here.
Hang on, I got it. Hold on, I'll find it. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, Nelson Rodriguez says Ace is the spaceman. It's being channeled in from above. Yeah, I mean, that's the shtick.
There you go. This was never released if you're a John 5 fan.
Even John 5 doesn't have a copy. He's like,
I don't think he does.
Original. Oh, it's titled after me, Loser.
Yep, just like you.
There you go. I noticed it doesn't even have like a real hard shell case either.
No, this was literally
paper demo.
Yeah, a demo that never really got released, but
KXM Rock, we were talking about Sebastian Bach doing the Steve Perry duet Oh Sherry earlier. Yeah, it's terrific. Give it a listen on YouTube. It's raw, but it's great.
Putting the Loser record back.
There it is. Get a good look now, kids. You won't find it. There's that chair. There's Paul's chair. Let's see. So that's Sebastian Bach news. Let's also backtrack to we were talking earlier. This is kind of funny, Paul. We were talking earlier about Raven. When was the last time you heard Raven? Well,
don't let it die.
Get ready, kids, because John Gallagher is basically, let's see, has an album called Metal City coming out September 18th. So new music and
a solo record from a guy in Raven.
I don't know if it's solo, if it's actually just Raven.
Is
Johnny,
he the
maybe
only guy in Raven now?
Yeah, I know, right? It's me and Blue Rhino and JoJo the Chimp and Ed the Cat appearing on the album. Ace the Dog will be doing a background vocals. Johnny, can you look that up real quick? It's called Raven, either Raven Metal City or John Gallagher Metal City. And we were joking about John Gallagher earlier.
Well, Raven went through a couple of lineup changes, and Wacko is no longer in the band.
A lot of them.
Yeah, Wacko's no longer in the band, so their gimmick is not quite
empty hockey mask.
It's interesting because there were two drummer gimmicks. There was the Raven drummer gimmick, and then wasn't the drummer in Samson Thunderstick? Didn't he have like a gimp mask on?
I don't remember.
Yeah, look at that. Boy, they look awful.
Jesus. So is that a Raven album coming out or John Gallagher? I think
it looks like Raven.
So
boy,
it says they released an official music video.
Metal City
for Metal City.
Well, you got to give it a listen. I mean, you gotta.
Oh no, I'll listen to it.
You don't want to miss this one, boys and girls. Give them a shot.
Here's the thing. That's a record that's coming out that I won't have.
I will, just to keep complete with my Raven catalog.
I don't own any Raven.
Really?
Yeah, I don't own any Raven.
They're all. I mean, I guess I'll get this one on CD if they make it. I guess they would. All my Ravens are cassette. They're all old school cassette on those.
Wow.
So okay, so there it is. That's Metal City, September 18th, and he jumps into the backtrack and vocals controversy, and he brings up an interesting point. You know, I mean, you know where I stand on that. I know where you stand on that. We've talked about this ad nauseum on the show. You know, look, I feel guys like Kiss and Don Dokken, and they get a pass because if they need the help, I'd rather see them with some backing tracks pushing them through it at their age and their ability than not see them at all. But he brings up an interesting point. He says, you know, these younger bands are using all these backtracks that they don't need for like age or ability. They're just lazy. And you look at guys like Queen, who were like layered with all these tracks and stuff in the studio. And what they do live, just four guys got out there and played as close as they could. Eventually, they got a fifth guy with extra keyboards to add a layer, but they didn't use anything. And they tried to emulate that studio sound that's so layered with levels, you know, versus guys like Coldplay. What the fuck are you doing coming out and playing to background tracks?
Well, I think if you want to, I mean, and that's always been sort of the attitude was if you can't do it with a bottle of whiskey and an acoustic guitar, you can't do it. And if you need backing tracks, see, here's the deal. Kiss and those guys don't need backing tracks. Those backing tracks and stuff will enhance it and make it, obviously, because they're older than fuck now, and it's difficult for them to pull it off. Guys like Yes, like if you go back and watch some of those Yes videos from the 70s, when they would go on stage and it was just four voices, and they were great. And credit to Stryper back in the day, although now they're using some background tapes as well. But credit to those bands. Like, look, you used to have talent to play music.
Crazy.
You used to have talent to play music, or if you didn't have talent, Ace Frehley, you had to do something to make some uniqueness. I mean, he made something out of nothing. Ace Frehley can't play with Steve Howe. Ace Frehley can't play with some of those guys, but there was something about him that transcends that ability, that he didn't rely on technology. Those guys didn't rely on technology. Now, don't get me wrong, technology is there and you should take advantage of it, but be honest about it. Be honest about what you're going to see. Be honest. That's it. You know, don't, you know, it's one of the things that I loved about Zeppelin and some of these other bands, that in the middle of their set, they'd break out 3 acoustic guitars and 3 stools and sit down on stage and play, just to show you they could.
Sample you wanted.
just to show you they could. The idea, and, you know, for all the things that I will make fun of Kid Rock for, the kid can play every instrument. And he's a pretty good turntable guy, you know, DJ. And he makes it a point during his show to show you that, hey, I'm not relying on technology. I can do this. And I have respect for musicians that can do that that aren't hiding behind the tapes and hiding behind the backing track. So I understand it being there as an enhancement and as something to make the show a little bit better. But if you're hiding behind it, that's when I'm out.
No good. And KXM Rock brings up someone like Britney Spears. I mean, that's always been a total lip sync, and that's just ridiculous. I don't know why you would totally lip sync your shows and just so you could do some dance routine. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to see a live music show. I want to see live music. You want to be an older band that needs a little vocal pickup. I'm fine with that. I can work with that because, I'm respect you're at least trying. But like when you're Britney Spears and you're a young athletic girl coming out there with just full on recordings and a pretend microphone the only live thing coming out of you is, how you doing so far? Everybody having fun? I don't want to see that now.
If James Brown could do what he did and still sing, and credit where credit is due, Bruno Mars sings, Justin Timberlake sings. They still have some backing tracks and all that stuff.
I'm getting high. Guys, bringing up them.
No, but those guys, it can be done. You can go out and use technology and do an athletic show, dancing and all the stuff that kind of comes with the choreography, and still sing and be on key. It can be done. And you should respect that it can be done. I may not.
I mean,
I may not like the music, but you got to respect that they can sing.
Yeah, and it's entertaining. It's more of a show. It's more of a show
than But with that said, anyway, but he brings up a good point. If you look at what Queen did with all of their effects in the studio, and they still knocked it out of the park like that. Is that you, Ace? Yeah, it's my Chinese.
Lemmy. Ace is sprawled out right here. Lemmy is in the other room barking.
Spread those legs, AC. Yeah, so he makes a really good point about Queen. That's all he's bringing up. And then let's see. Finally, where are we?
We gotta hurry. I gotta leave.
Finally, one last story. I've been listening since we talked about it last week. I've been re-listening to the Dokken albums with John Norum. And John Norum, the guitarist from Europe. You guys know him, and he was Don Dokken's pick to replace George Lynch, basically, when they came out with Don Dokken. And, I revisited that album, that Don Dokken solo band album, and it was really fucking good. I mean, again, I still think Lynch Mob was a little better, but listening to Don Dokken's solo album, whenever that hit, 91 maybe, I think it was really terrific. John Norum was great on that album. And a lot of good songs on there. So give that a listen as well. And he did one more Dokken album after that before he left the band. But that was, full on just titled Dokken, not Don Dokken. But I really like the Don Dokken album, just revisiting it. And again, recommend to you guys before we leave, again, Svengali, Under the Influence, that is your song of the week. Listen to that track on YouTube. It is a kick-ass track. It really is. Did you hear what I was saying about John Norum, Paulie?
No.
I was bringing up the Don Dokken solo album and the Dokken album.
From the Ashes?
Yeah, and the Don Dokken solo album was really, really good. I mean, not quite as good as Lynch Mob, but I was saying it was a really, really good guitar album for John Norum.
All right. Yeah. I pick it up every once in a while when I'm in the store. I don't own that one, believe it or not.
I'm surprised.
In the Dokken Lynch thing, I went full Lynch. And I don't own most of the new Dokken stuff, and I still don't own Up from the Ashes. And I've thought about it. I just never pick it up. I will though.
All right. Well, listen, other than that, boys and girls, thank you, Swiss Picks, Bang Energy Drink, Vine and Pickups. And listen, leave comments in the video, leave thumbs up on the video, subscribe. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys and girls. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on Tuesday. And again, remember, check out, of course, the Friday show and the Saturday show, and early Saturday. Don't forget to see me on Sarah Pokorny's show.
Pokorny.
Picani, with myself, and I'm the guest. Gary Thollander and Sandra Picorni are the hosts. Who knows what madness will happen when I'm a guest on their show? I don't know.
Good talk.
And Sandra, what time is that show again? Let's give it a quick plug one more time so everyone mocks the calendars. The calendar. Remember the calendar? Let's see. It is. Come on, Sandra. Where's the damn plug?
I gotta go.
Hold on. I want Sandra to at least give the time. Sandra, what time is it on Saturday night?
Really?
I have it. Hold on.
There we go.
There we go. Communication Breakdown, Saturday on YouTube, September 12th, 6 p.m. Central Time. There it is. So give it a watch. Who knows what craziness will ensue. And again, be safe out there. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. We love you guys. Thank you for
Roll
watching.
that beautiful Beane footage, Johnny.
Let's see the credits.
Good night, everybody.
Let's get.
We love you, our audience. We love you.
All right, I gotta get out of here.
Goodbye, John.
Good
We're
night.
still live, by the way.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
See ya.